Yeah, we should actually record something that we can legally broadcast.
Welcome, listener, to this extremely legal and above board podcast.
Yep, this bastion of journalistic ethics that is Analysis Roulette. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Dia, and I use they, them pronouns.
I'm your other host. My name is Duck. I use he, they pronouns. This is our Christmas bonus episode. You didn't know you were
Happy
getting one of these, but we did.
holidays!
And because of the extremely active social life that I lead, this is probably coming out to you on Christmas Day.
We thank you for your sacrifice.
It's not so much a sacrifice as the people who I always have Christmas with. One of them is working the night shift on Christmas Day, so we're having real replacement Christmas on Saturday.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I have got cheese in the fridge. We're all set. Charcuterie podcast. It's a plan. But first,
That sounds pretty good.
It's going to be a great time. We went back and forth on like what to do for a Christmas bonus episode that wasn't going to be, crucially, too much actual analysis work because we are also recording the next season of mainline episodes. So we wanted something we could just sort of slot in. So this is going to be a little looser and more conversational because we don't have a school of analysis so much as a topic.
Yeah, you have a whole new series to look forward to that we are working on. But in the meantime, we want to talk to you about something that's very close to our hearts.
This is, after all, a British podcast.
And what is more British than the Doctor Who Christmas special?
Welcome to the Doctor Who Christmas special, where we are going to talk about Doctor Who Christmas specials.
And only the Christmas specials. There may
And
be some
only the Christmas specials.
There may be some Doctor Who context, but we will not be talking about Doctor Who overall.
No,
This
we
is
watched.
about the
We
tradition.
watched or rewatched specifically some Christmas episodes for this, which I did not necessarily enjoy.
They are not. It's not that they're bad. It's that they are trying to do a very different thing than what TV shows are usually trying to do. Because what TV shows are usually trying to do is like entertain you.
Right. I mean, one of the ones I watched, I was like, this is workmanlike. I can see where the budget was not maybe what they would have hoped. So I can see where they've sort of cut the corners on this. But it's basically fine. It's competently telling a light-hearted sci-fi story with some welded-on Christmas content. Fine. And then the other one I watched, I was like, this is not good television.
Yeah. Okay. More faffing around with the mic aside. Would you like to give a potted summary of Doctor Who?
Yes. Sure.
I
Very
realise this
potted.
is a challenge.
Right. I'm just like rapidly condensing everything I know into very small box. Doctor Who is a beloved and long-running British family sci-fi show. It follows the adventures of the eponymous The Doctor. He, in theory, has a name, but he sort of refuses to ever tell it to anyone. It's a whole plot point in several places. Therefore, he is the Doctor. He has a series of companions, often more than one at a time, who travel with him through time and space on his TARDIS, which is a time and space ship. It's bigger on the inside. It looks like a blue police box, a thing that existed when Doctor Who was new 70 years ago, and now basically doesn't.
Yeah, there are a couple in the country. They're rare enough that they are pilgrimage sites for fans of Doctor Who.
Right. The concept is it's a box from which you can call the police.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And I believe they also had interiors which was more so that the police could then put someone in them as a sort of mid-arrest restraint process.
I'm also in theory aware of people getting getting into them while waiting for the police if they'd called
As
them.
a sort of place of safety thing. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. But it's a box. It looks like a box, which means you can put it on a set really cheaply because it's not like a flying saucer. It doesn't float. It's a wooden box. But it travels in time and space. And there's this alien called the Doctor, who is a sort of traveling hero who really likes humans and therefore goes to a lot of human problems because, again, humans are cheap to shoot. You have to understand, if you are not aware of this, particularly you may not be if you've only seen like revived Doctor Who. Doctor Who is traditionally shot on a budget of 50p.
If that.
Like, you write it on Friday, you film it on Monday, you have a budget of 50p and a box of Christmas decorations, and you make do.
It's been the launch pad for a lot of big British names, partly because it's just one of those shows that goes through up-and-coming actors like tissues.
Right. It's in that
up-and-coming
sweet spot.
actors are cheap.
Right, it's in that spot where it wants to hire unknowns for fairly major roles in a fairly major primetime TV show, but it doesn't want to hire them for very long.
Once they start getting Hollywood offers, unless they are super fans of the show, which many up and coming British actors are, they're not
Mhm.
sticking around for Doctor Who money.
Right. And when we say long running, it has had its 70th birthday. Generations of the British have grown up on Doctor Who. Um,
It's kind of hard to give an age range to
it's a family
non-British
show
fans.
in the literal yeah, it's a family show, not in the sense of this is for kids. It's a family show in the sense that this is intended for everyone from the 2-year-old to granny to be watching it at the same time.
Yeah, like, um, I think, these do exist all over the world, but the BBC is really big on them, is attempting to make like primetime entertainment that the whole family will enjoy. And when they say the whole family will enjoy, they don't mean that in like the Pixar sense, where it's like it's for kids and there's two raunchy jokes.
Yeah, no, they mean um the BBC like officially has like a mission to like support British like family life or something. Um the BBC kind of feels like its job or part of its job is to make everyone sit down and watch TV together as a family like in the olden days when things were better. So part of the way they do this is they try to make primetime TV that everyone will enjoy. Sometimes that's like a lot of David Attenborough's stuff is actually like primetime 8 p.m.
Absolutely,
BBC
yeah.
One. Everyone sitting down by the TV to watch the show about tigers. That's part of the what it's doing and why it is really high budget.
A lot of the like comedy or talent shows, so Bake Off, Would I Lie
Right,
to You, those
right.
kind of shows.
Is that everyone is supposed to be watching these at the same time as a little family event.
And, quite often, like a lot of these are like non-fictional dramas. So, we've just said your Attenboroughs, your Strictly's, whatever.
Yeah.
But also a decent amount of them are typically genre, fiction, long-running
Yeah,
shows.
not
So
they're
like,
not as likely to be like we also have our fair share of things like police procedurals, but they're not usually the this is a family viewing event
yeah, they
things.
don't tend to go in the same slot. The contemporary for Doctor Who would be more like something like the BBC's Merlin.
Yeah, yeah, um,
Which, like, yeah, you can put a 6-year-old in front of that and they'll have a pretty good time, but also, like, the 36-year-old is gonna have a decent time as well.
right. And when we think about little family events where everyone is going to gather around and do the same thing at the same time, and everyone's got to enjoy it at once, you understand why Christmas is a thing with Doctor Who. Doctor Who has been having Christmas specials pretty much since it was created. I believe in the first one, the Doctor, as the character, literally turns to the camera and tells everyone at home to have a Merry Christmas.
So it's a little bit more complicated, which is they never officially had Christmas specials.
They just had the episode that was going to be around Christmas time.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
because it was very long running, it regularly had episodes on Christmas. And in one of them, which was in 65, it explicitly mentioned it's Christmas, have a lovely Christmas. But there would always be family entertainment on Christmas, like TV shows like Doctor Who.
Yes. Yeah, and even in the what's called the Wilderness Years, which is the point where Doctor Who got cancelled. Doctor Who ran for many years, and then it got cancelled, and it didn't run for I think about 20 years, apart from there was a TV movie in the middle.
Yeah.
And then it came back in 2005. It was brought back from the dead, and everyone thought it was going to be like a reboot, but no, they were like, we are carrying on from the previous story, having had a 20-year hiatus. This is old Doctor Who. We're just making more of it. Um,
Yeah, it was frankly a mad decision. One I'm glad they
Absolutely
made,
bonkers.
but mad.
Oh, brilliant! Because it means that the whole thing came back with a. There is a ton of history. This is still the old thing, which is good for like people wanting it. But also, it gives you so much. These are the old enemies. These are the old stories. We can harken back to anything in the absolute bonkers collage of stuff we've already done.
I also think I have never seen a bigger dick move than just like off screen between doctors eradicating his entire planet.
Right? Yes. When they brought it back, they were like, also, literally, his whole planet and species are dead. Enjoy.
Yeah, like the Doctor being the last of his kind was so like because I was about 8 when Doctor Who came back on. I'd seen some of the old Doctor Who, like I'd seen a few of the I want to say 80s. like the later end episodes. I'd seen a few of the Tom Baker ones,
Yeah.
but I hadn't watched it religiously because I was like 8. Um, and when it came back, I sort of just assumed the Doctor being this like lonely traveler, last of his kind, was
Was what
inherent
I
with
had
the
always
show's
been.
formula.
Right, no, that was new.
No, that was new. That was off screen. They
Off
eliminated
screen.
his entire species.
Off screen between episodes, they were like, by the way, everyone's dead, Dave.
I'm sorry, but Doctor Who has more balls than any other franchise sci-fi property out there. I'm just saying, when Star Trek got a reboot and like eradicated most of the Vulcan race, they didn't do it off screen.
They didn't do it off screen, you know? And they didn't, and Doctor Who didn't go back and revisit the let's explore what actually happened there for like another 10 years.
And even then, to be honest, like they
Even then,
they
not
did
really in
like
detail. They just like did a little side plot on it.
they never explained it because they
Oh no,
deliberately wrote it as something that couldn't be explained. Like it's supposed to be a war where time fractures.
they were just like, let's go and revisit the war happening.
And so they're stuck with, well, we can't it's supposed to be this like crazy war where like time and reality were splintering, which they can't capture on camera. So they have to mostly just tell us.
Right.
And I love that for them. A few of the audio dramas have done it because you can get away with that in an audio drama.
The audio dramas have this in common with books that you can do some incredible special effects for very cheap because they happen in the audience's head. It is as cheap in a book or an audio drama to blow up 19,000 spaceships as one spaceship.
Also, helpfully, you can just say, "Oh my god, time is splintering around us," and like
I'm
maybe add
seeing
in
weird
some,
hallucinatory things.
or even just like you can splice the audio around a bit in a way that isn't going to be as motion sicknessy as
Right,
if
you
you
can
did it with
stretch
human
and
bodies.
compress things in ways that are not great on video.
Yeah. Not that Doctor Who has ever been scared of cheap, rubbish-looking special effects.
It's charmingly theatrical in that way. I don't mean like as an insulting like amateur dramatics thing. I mean that one of the things about theatre is that you are usually trying to denote what is happening rather than absolutely convincingly show it.
Yeah, and even I think especially actually when it does big special effects, it goes for a much more sort of artist's impression vibe.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot
Doctor
of
Who
like
is
you
very
can see this
rarely
is
trying to
animated.
convince
It's
you.
it's meant to look like it's animated. It's a fleet of spaceships.
Yeah, it's very rarely trying to convince you that what you are seeing is really real.
Right. There are so many corridors that are just lit in different colors to tell you it's a different corridor.
And to be honest, when it does try to convince you that what you're seeing is really real, it's usually an early clue that this is either a regeneration episode or a horror episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the episodes
Like,
have more budget than others, and you can often tell which ones were the cheap ones. You can also always tell which one were the we had to give our stars a week off episodes.
truly, no one does the like main character light episodes like Doctor Who.
Right, partly because most series don't do those. And
Yeah,
Doctor
like there
Who isn't any like once upon a time Doctor Who was written on Friday, filmed on Monday and like released that week to the public. Like it was done like a soap opera. Nowadays they go off to Wales and like do a long shoot and then it goes off to post production and then after that in several months time it gets released. There is no reason they couldn't just give people a holiday and have a break in the shooting schedule, but instead they do an episode with no one in it.
Well, it's also they Doctor Who gives itself I think not so much nowadays, but certainly when the Doctor and Companion Light episodes were instituted,
Hmm.
Doctor Who gave itself a much more punishing schedule than most like high budget family dramas. Because when
Yes.
we say Doctor Who is low budget, we mean Doctor Who is low budget for a sci-fi show.
Yes, it's not low budget for a weekly soap opera.
Yeah, like you can get a year of Coronation Street for an episode of Doctor Who,
Yeah.
even the rubbish ones.
Even the rubbish ones, partly because like every episode of Doctor Who, the set might just be a school with long corridors that we lit in different colours, but you had to go on location and do that. Whereas your soap
Yeah.
opera, you built these sets once, and they are the sets.
Yeah. And very rarely you do a high budget episode of a soap opera where you have to do like one explosion.
One
Doctor Who, it's a
explosion,
low
and you get the star from Doctor Who to come on and be exploded.
yeah, whereas Doctor Who, it's a low budget episode if you only have to rent two locations and use the props you already have in a warehouse.
Right. And the same Welsh quarry we always go to may be a cheap location to go to, but it is still filming on location, and that's not cheap.
Exactly. And also, again, because of that punishing schedule, you can't actually keep Catherine Tate hostage in Cardiff. You do have to let her go do some stage work if she wants to.
Right. And because these are, like Doctor Who loves to cast, um, classically trained, famous British actors, which means they all have theatre careers.
They all have theatre careers. It also loves to, not usually as Doctor or Companion, but usually as recurring roles, cast like beloved British, like just steady jobbing actors.
Yes, 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 yes. You see so many people on Doctor Who that you have seen in so many things.
Or people who were like super famous when you were 10, who you kind of go, oh, you're still acting?
I watched two different Christmas specials in the run up to this, and in both of them, Matt Lucas was there playing different characters.
Yeah, that's a lot. Um, Look, we're not a huge island, and relative to the population, we have a high number of Shakespearean actors.
And also, both of the ones that I watched were directed by Stephen Moffat, and it is absolutely no surprise when Stephen Moffat casts from a particular cohort of like public schoolboy actors that he happens to know.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, so Doctor Who, Christmas special.
Christmas special.
You're familiar with the concept of the Christmas special. From 2005, which is when it was first renewed, the
Hmm.
Doctor Who Christmas special became pretty much an annual event. If there has been a Doctor Who series that year, there will be a Christmas special. Sometimes there is a Christmas special even if there hasn't been a series that year.
Yeah, the only thing I could find was that I think some of the more recent series they did them as New Year specials instead, but that's more of a quirk of BBC scheduling than anything.
Yeah, if the BBC has something else they want to give the prime time Christmas Day slot, they might move Doctor Who to New Year.
But there will be a holiday special of the Doctor Who.
Yeah. And these are a little bit different to regular Doctor Who
Yes, they are.
in quite a
Um,
few ways.
do you want to go through
So,
what you think otherwise, and I'll
do we
jump in
want
if
to
I
say
have more.
which ones we don't have to go into any detail, but should we give a rundown of what we watched
Oh,
first?
sure. So I watched back lo these many years ago, when I was young and Doctor Who was new. Um, I watched at least a couple of the Christmas specials, like on Christmas when they came out, because I was very into Doctor Who. Because you have to understand the context here. When Doctor Who came back from the dead in 2005, I was a deeply unhappy 16-year-old girl. I was extremely into Doctor Who.
For some reason, the TV show about an alien who travels around the universe reinventing themselves constantly and sometimes just completely changing their entire body is very appealing to the trans community.
It's weird how that happens. And also to the I would like to run away and have adventures. What I want most in the universe, and this was true of me at 16, what I wanted most in the universe was to be somewhere else in the universe.
I think that's extremely relatable, especially on Christmas Day. Even if you're very close to
Right?
your family and you love them, by about 3 p.m.
You're like, what? Why don't we all sit down and watch the TV and no one is allowed to talk over the show?
I maintain this is why people still watch the King's Speech. It's nothing to do with like the monarchy. It's just okay. Let's just have an agreement that for this 15 minutes of bullshit, no one speaks.
We are going to have a moment, an extended moment of contemplative silence. I think we could all use some contemplative silence
It's
while
like,
we digest our cabbage.
by the way, yes, that is a thing in the UK for non-British listeners. No, hardly anyone actually does it.
Yeah, no, I've never watched it because, as a matter of principle, no kings, no bishops.
I think I've probably watched it, like in the sense that like I grew up with
You were in a room when it was on.
yeah, like I grew up with it being on, but I don't think I've ever paid attention to it.
Yeah. And
But
yeah, the
yeah,
Doctor Who Christmas special is specifically a thing you sit down to watch and everyone stops talking. But that means it has to be watched by a bunch of people who didn't watch Doctor Who all year.
yeah, which makes the first one a fucking bananas writing decision.
Absolutely bonk. Now, to be fair, in 2005, the pool of people who had not watched Doctor Who was low. Um, 2005 is before we had Freeview in the UK. There were 5 TV channels, and
Yeah,
Doctor
like
Who was the most important thing.
if you weren't watching Doctor Who, you were watching Gillian McKeith look at people's poo.
Right.
There was
It
no
was
choices.
but people who I'm not saying everyone watched Doctor Who. I'm just I think it is fair to assume that more people had watched some Doctor Who before the 2005 Christmas special than before the 2017 one.
However, with that said, the
There's
first
so
ever
much happening.
the first ever Doctor Who Christmas special. So, like I said, there had been previous episodes on Christmas, they had previously mentioned
Mhm.
Christmas. This was the first ever official Doctor Who
Right.
special.
We are refounding this beloved series for a new era of television, a new generation of people. We are establishing what it means to be a Christmas special. And what we have done
It's
is
so plot heavy.
at the end of the last episode of the series, we killed off our main character, and now
Bearing
we
in
have a
mind
different guy.
bearing in mind that there will have been people watching this who were not familiar with ye oldie Doctor Who because it hadn't been on TV for like 20 years, discounting
Right.
specials.
Right. Which means they may not have been familiar with the whole sometimes we replace the lead actor shtick.
So, there were people watching who had never seen any Doctor Who, and B, there were people watching who the last Doctor Who they saw was the main character died and shapeshifted into some guy they'd never heard of because David Tennant was not famous at this point.
Right. What happened was that there was a series of Doctor Who with this guy called Christopher Eccleston playing the Doctor,
Legend, by the way.
and you come back for Christmas and you sit down with the family to watch Doctor Who, and it's some other guy. It is someone else.
A completely different guy, and also he hasn't been recast because the characters are all talking about how he looks different.
Right. It's not like, oh yeah, the actor quit. It's the character looks different now. And also the character keeps talking about himself like he's a different guy, but also the same guy. And also someone's mum
Also,
is
it's
here.
Christmas Day!
And also it's Christmas Day. Someone's mum is like Rose's mum is here, her boyfriend is here, the Christmas tree is trying to kill them.
Like, I cannot express how plot heavy the first Christmas special is.
There's a lot goes on. It's establishing the whole regeneration thing. It's establishing like the whole character of who this new version of the Doctor is going to be. Um, and it's doing it not in the main series at all, but in
Not even remotely. Like, I
not even
do
remote,
remember watching this
in
one.
a Christmas episode you could miss.
I do remember watching this one, and like I say, I'd seen some Doctor Who before because I was a sci-fi kid, but I'd sort of old Doctor Who was in the same storage section of my brain as like random episodes of Red Dwarf and Star Trek that had
Yeah,
just
yeah,
been like on Channel 5 at like 11 o'clock p.m.
yeah.
Like I wasn't super familiar with it. I watched this Christmas special on the phone to my cousin because like that was our little tradition is we would
Hmm.
phone each other up and just watch TV together because
It was
we
the
were the
olden days.
same age but lived at opposite ends of the country, and that's how you used to socialize
How we
before,
used to do it. Yep, yep.
messaging options. We didn't have internet yet. It was 2005. Um, and I cannot express to you how confused me and my also 8-year-old cousin were trying to piece together what the hell was going on in this episode.
Right. Because it
Because we
doesn't
had both seen
explain.
the series, but it does not explain the regeneration thing. The Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, kind of says, "Yeah, we've got this funny trick where we don't die, we shapeshift," and then he does, and then it's
Right.
Christmas.
He's like, just sometimes this things happen where you accident, you die, and instead of dying, you turn into David Tennant, as you do, and then Merry Christmas, everyone. The Christmas tree is trying to kill you.
Now, there is a saving grace to all of this chaos, which is that the lead character of this episode is companion Rose Tyler, and she
Hmm.
also has no idea what is going on, is mad about it, and also it's Christmas.
Right, right. She also is experiencing what the audience are experiencing, which is my best friend just turned into David Tennant. Um, my mum's being awkward at me because it's Christmas. Also, it's Christmas. Also, my boyfriend is here. Also, the Christmas
Also,
tree is trying to kill me, and there's aliens. Why are there aliens? Did I not have enough to deal with today?
with hindsight, I actually think the Christmas invasion might have been Billie Piper's best acting job.
The weird thing about the Christmas invasion is I think it works as a piece of TV. Like,
It
granted,
does.
it's bonkers, but when watched, like, I did not watch it like from a state of innocence. I watched it having watched every episode, so I knew what was going on. And I was just like, why is there Christmas happening as well? This is not making it better. Why does it have to be Christmas for them as well?
I think the thing is, the Christmas invasion makes sense to me as a Christmas special of Doctor Who. Like, you've rebooted Doctor Who, the BBC has said you can have a Christmas special, you go, okay, what's the next thing that happens on Doctor Who, and also it's Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, getting attacked by an alien Christmas tree robot thing is, like, one of the first 3 things I'd say if you asked me to come up with a sci-fi show for Christmas.
Particularly because as deadly Christmas trees go, it's a very cheaply made deadly Christmas tree because they just put it on a motor and it makes it
It
spin.
just spins, it's
Just spins.
so
It just spins.
unthreatening.
It like gets caught on the wire from the lights to the wall. It
It kind of looks like something you would see in a shopping centre and be like, "Is
yes.
that safe?"
Is that meant to do that?
But yeah, the plot of that one is essentially the Doctor is comatose after regenerating when some aliens show up, so Rose has to try and deal with the aliens herself without the Doctor. But eventually, when she calls for the Doctor, he wakes up and saves her twice. And he gets into a sword fight with an alien and gets his hand cut off, which turns out to be super plot critical
The
like two
hand comes
series
back like
later.
3 different plot relevant times.
Multiple times that hand thing comes back, so, not to steal a joke from H. Bomber Guy, because I'm sure more people have seen that video than listened to this, but I hope you were paying attention on Christmas Day, because that hand falling off the spaceship was gonna be mad important down the
Uh-huh.
line.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like, and eventually, like, it has like a dramatic ending where the Prime Minister, who the Doctor knew from a previous adventure, has the aliens attacked as they're retreating, and the Doctor like turns the people against her with just one sentence. It's all very drama,
It's
but
very, very drama.
it makes sense as an episode of Doctor Who. Like, it's got Christmas in it, but it's not too wacky. It's more weird as a Christmas special than it is weird as an episode of a sci-fi show.
Yes, it very much feels like this is an episode of Doctor Who that for some external reasons we had to also make Christmassy.
Yeah, like we just added in some Christmas trees and license some Christmas music,
Right.
and
But
it's
we could have
Christmas.
done this same episode without the Christmas trappings. So it's just the Doctor's in a coma, the aliens are attacking. Eventually, in the nick of time, he wakes up, he saves the day, he brings down the Prime Minister. We
All
don't
of
need to
this
have
could
him
have
go throughout
been
the orange.
not at Christmas.
Yeah.
Fast forward 1 year later, The Runaway Bride. Now this starts the grand
This again?
tradition.
What were they doing with putting so... Now, no, to me, actually, I can answer that question, which is what they were doing with putting so much plot in this is they weren't intending to have Catherine Tate come back. So, continue.
They were not. This starts the grand tradition of having like special guest appearances in the Christmas specials, usually
Yeah,
comedians or pop stars,
yeah,
sometimes famous actors who are doing it for their kids and
yeah.
clearly don't want to be there.
Right. But having, like, little, sort of one-off companions, because the companion is a structural role within Doctor Who of, like, the Doctor's sidekick. Because it's a Christmas special, you can have the famous person come and be the sidekick for this one episode, and no one expects them to stay because it was a special.
Especially because quite often, if the Doctor hasn't regenerated, then a companion will leave or arrive at the beginning and
Yeah,
end of series.
I love that there's often a change at the start or end of a series.
Which means that, of course, if you're doing the Christmas special between series, you don't have a companion.
Yeah, you've just said a tearful goodbye to the last companion. You have not yet found who's going to be your new one, so instead you have Kylie Minogue.
This is also the first one that teases the Christmas special. So at the like end of the previous series, which was like a heartbreaking tearjerker ending, um, well-known sketch comedian Catherine Tate appears in the TARDIS in a wedding dress.
Yes, she does, and she just says "what" repeatedly.
Which, to be fair, was one of her bits from sketch comedy.
Right.
I did watch Catherine Tate's sketch comedy at that age. I probably shouldn't have because I did not get most of the jokes. It's not inappropriate. It just, won't make sense to the average 9-year-old.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like class humor that went over my head at 9. Um, but um, people
For
did
Doctor Who reasons, we
definitely
must give the 9-year-olds class consciousness.
absolutely, yeah. But I will say, I don't think watching them now, knowing that Catherine Tate has done other stuff now, like she's done a lot of theatre work. I've seen her at the theatre. She's a fantastic theatre actress,
She
and
is.
obviously her run on Doctor Who is now so well known. It really doesn't capture how
Right.
unexpected she was
She is
in this.
now known to be a very competent dramatic actor. However, the reason she is known to be that is that she went on Doctor Who and did it.
And
At
knocked
the
it out of the
time, she was a
park.
sketch comedian, and everyone went, "This is going to be odd.
Now,
How's this
to
going to
be
work?"
fair, I think we have also slightly memory hold that Billie Piper was like seen as, I think this is harsh, but she was seen as kind of a has-been pop star when she was
Oh,
cast.
absolutely. Yeah. No, when she was cast, absolutely. She wasn't even like here as an unknown actor. She was like, oh, the gimmick is that they've cast a pop star who's a bit past it.
and, like, not even, like, a top-tier pop star. Now, Billie Piper, by the way, has gone on to have an amazing theatrical career. She's done some
Doctor Who will
incredible
launch your career,
look,
or
it
launch a
can
different career
Doctor Who.
than your old one, depending on if you came in
The
from
thing
sketch
is,
comedy or pop.
my impression is, from talking to a couple of actors who've been on Doctor Who,
Mhm.
it's really hardcore,
Yeah.
and they're asking
Um,
you to do a lot. You
the actual
cannot do
shooting
Doctor
schedule
Who.
is even with the sort of and there's a reason they cut it. They like when they in the old days it was like 40 episodes a year, and now they do 12 or 13, and even at that, they are really working their actors hard.
You can't do Doctor Who without already being a pretty good actor and without becoming a much better actor.
Right, because they are going to make you act your little heart out in front of some bubble wrap on a stick.
In front of usually some bubble wrap on a stick, and also, like, some of the greatest actors will just, like, in the country will just periodically show up.
Right, it's like, welcome to your first day on the job. Today you are acting beside some bubble wrap on a stick and Maggie Smith.
Yeah, it'll be like, okay, so you have to pretend that this bubble wrap on a stick is your beloved child who you've been separated from for 40 years and you've just been reunited. Meanwhile, Derek Jacobi is going to be shooting a pew pew gun at you.
Right. Which he does at one point show up. He's been in Doctor Who.
Possible.
Everyone's been in Doctor Who. Peter Capaldi is like a legendary actor who was like, yeah, I'll go and do Doctor Who.
Everyone does Doctor Who because most British actors grew up watching it.
Everyone wants to be on Doctor Who. Um,
I
now, it's
would
not
be
that
on
there are
Doctor
no
Who.
British
Who
actors
wouldn't
who you
like
could
to be
call
on
up.
Doctor Who?
Right, if the BBC call you up and say, we would like you to be on the Christmas special of Doctor Who. Dear, we want you to be on the Christmas special of Doctor Who. Are you going to say no?
In my day job, if I have to. Are you kidding? I'd give a hand to be on Doctor Who. I'll do anything.
Right. And just being an actor doesn't make people not have that impulse of like, yes, of course I will be on Doctor Who. How much do I have to pay you?
Also, because, like, loser theatre kids in the UK are running around playgrounds playing Doctor Who, and loser theatre kids usually are the ones. Not all theatre kids grow up to become Derek Jacobi, but all Derek Jacobis started theatre kids.
Yes. I think that is probably accurate.
You know,
Which
and
means
including a lot
basically
of the
all of
stars.
our acting pool at some point have wished with all of their heart to be on Doctor Who. So many of them leap at the opportunity when it comes. And that is often for a Christmas special because they can't be like, they have other commitments. They can't go and do 6 months of filming. They can go and do a single hour long special.
Yeah. And so The Runaway Bride opens with Catherine Tate as the one shot fun character of Donna Noble.
Right. She was supposed to be getting married today, and now she's on the TARDIS, and she is no happier about this than the Doctor, who was just like weeping over the loss of his one true love, and then suddenly Catherine Tate is here.
Now, I will say, this is one of the least Christmassy Christmas specials.
I think there's some fake snow, which is contractually obligated,
It is happening around Christmas time. She's
but
having a
like,
winter wedding,
right, but
and
the big event is the wedding, not Christmas,
the giant evil spider lady has a spaceship shaped like a star.
which is stretching the Christmas theme
That's
pretty
about
much.
it.
Yeah, like the event that is happening around the plot is Donna's wedding, not Christmas.
Yeah, this is not the birth of the little baby Jesus. This is the marriage of wacky
This is
one-shot character Donna Noble.
right. This is Donna Noble not getting married.
There are still killer Santas and stuff. Those
There
do
are
come
still
back.
killer Santas and stuff. Yeah,
The like killer Christmas trappings are there, but they could have been anything. There is no plot crucial Christmas in this one.
right. You could have done this at any other time, and again, you just as with the Christmas Invasion, you just swap out the vaguely Christmas shaped trappings for just like regular alien robot trappings.
I think this remains the case for most of the early few. So skipping ahead, the next Christmas special, which was, a year later, also kind of it's a bit wackier. It's a bit I don't know. It's got another one-shot guest star, which is Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue has been on Doctor Who. And it
Why
wasn't.
not?
I think it was a surprise at not even a surprise. It was like a notable thing at the time. It was very much the draw for this Christmas episode is Kylie Minogue's in it, and everyone went, "Why?" But also everyone went, "Well, I guess it worked with Billie Piper. Maybe
Yeah.
she'll be great."
I mean,
Because Billie was
why
great.
not? You can If I mean, no one's gonna turn down Kylie Minogue if she says, "Yeah, I wanna be on Doctor Who, why not? Sounds fun."
Yeah.
And to be fair, Kylie Minogue, I did look it up, has a surprisingly storied acting resume. She was on Neighbours for, like, 2 years, which is
Huh.
very much the Australian equivalent of, like, doing your time on Casualty.
Yeah, it's a long-running soap opera where you were, if nothing else, you were gonna learn the discipline of learn your lines and turn up to set on time.
Yeah, like, she's done a lot of musicals, she's done a lot of comedies, she does actually have acting chops. I will say you would not know that from this episode.
Right, and at the time, I think that this came out, I had not been following Kylie Minogue's career, and therefore I was aware of her only as like, oh yeah, a pop star.
I will say, in my personal opinion, this is the roughest of the early ones.
It is not one of the best. Um,
So Voyage of the Damned is set on the spaceship Titanic,
it is not subtle about the reference it is making.
which crashes into the TARDIS,
It is not
breaking it.
subtle about the reference it is making.
Much like the previous one, this happens while the Doctor is like emotionally recovering from a very trying end of series.
Yeah, because this was the series where there was Tinkerbell Jesus.
Yeah, this was the weird one.
This was the
But his
weird one.
companions just left him. He's just become the last of his race again.
Right, he's just spent a year being tortured by, and lost the love of his life in a very, like, frenemies way. Also, his companion has just gone, well, I've spent a year saving your life and the world and hiking, and it was terrible, and I'm going home now. Uh,
I
he's
deserve
alone
better
again,
than to.
and alone again in several ways. Right, she's quite right. She does deserve a better life than the Doctor is
She
giving
does
her.
deserve better.
But he's experiencing emotional turmoil, and he's all alone, forever alone, and then he is struck by the Titanic.
Which crashes through the wall of the TARDIS, a thing that is not possible, by the way.
Right, right. The laws of the TARDIS are very flexible according to what the plot requires.
Like, um, the TARDIS is always held up as completely impenetrable, and you know shit's going down when the TARDIS is
When stuff
breached.
comes through, and the
In,
ship
in
doesn't
no
casually
other
by accident.
episode, in no other episode is it just breached by having someone brute force plow into the side.
Right, that's the one thing you would expect would not work.
If nothing else, because it's smaller on the outside, where is it? How is it? The bit that's
What's going on
breaking
with the
through the side
dimensions?
of the TARDIS is bigger than the side of the TARDIS.
I cannot explain to you apart from it made a cool cliffhanger.
But yeah, so they're on the spaceship Titanic, which is like a tourist vessel for rich people, um, visiting Earth. And the Doctor befriends a waitress played by Kylie Minogue. And the Christmas reference in this one is A, it's Christmas on Earth, and there's a lot of jokes about the like fake alien historian not knowing what Christmas is.
Hmm.
And B, the bad guys in this one are robot angels, which are for some reason the like service droids on the Titanic spaceship.
They have turned upon their masters.
Sure.
And I remember a lot of crawling through ducts. I don't really remember what happened.
I did rewatch this one for this, and to be honest, that's most of what happened. The Doctor like does a speech, which he does a lot. Some people
That
love them,
happens a
some
lot.
people hate them. I have mixed feelings. I really like them when they're good, but I do think they're overused.
Yes, that's broadly my feeling. Is sometimes the Doctor gives a good speech, and sometimes the Doctor just gives another speech.
The thing is, I like it as a character beat that this is a character who
Yes,
has he
his
has
willingness
so
to monologue is unquenched.
his willingness to monologue is unquenched, and also I like that it usually works because it makes the handful of times it doesn't work a good rug pull. Because like the thing
Yes,
is, he does
but he
have that
gave the speech, and
reputation.
then they don't change his mind and shoot him anyway, and now we are interested.
Exactly, because like there are quite a few episodes where the Doctor not necessarily saves the day, but at least helps with the day saving by going,
Yeah,
"I'm the Doctor, I did all this stuff," and people are intimidated by that because he is the Doctor and he did do all that stuff.
right. Which
Which
makes
makes
for a
it
nice.
when an alien goes, "Yeah, I know, and I'm not scared of you," you know that's a big deal, alien. I like that as a character beat for the Doctor.
Yes, yes.
That doesn't mean
A
the
character that
speeches.
monologues is a good consistent trait.
That doesn't mean that the speeches aren't sometimes annoying.
Right. Sometimes, however, we have to listen to the whole speech. Like
Also,
I say, get to
sometimes
the
the
point.
speech, sometimes, as in this one, and
Sometimes
what
the
annoys me
speech
about
is
this one
bad.
specifically, the speech is just, I'm the Doctor and I'm from a planet you've never heard of.
It's alright. Sometimes the actual like content of the speech is, I think a lot of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so do a lot of people on this boat full of rich people.
Yeah, like, they have no reason to think you're not just rich dickhead number 7.
Yeah. But sometimes it works when it shouldn't.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's not a high point. It does have Bernard Cribbins in it, which is nice to have some continuity within the Christmas specials because Bernard Cribbins is a repeat appearance
We
in
will we
these.
will see many and much of Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah, he's also post hoc revealed to be Donna from the previous Christmas specials, Grandad, giving even more interspecial continuity.
Hmm.
And it's after that one that Donna comes back, retrospectively making the second Christmas special extremely plot crucial.
Right, because now here's Donna again. She is going to be our companion for the next 2 series. There's going to be so much that happened. The Hand is going to come back. Bernard Cribbins is going to come back because he's Grandad. Now it turns out it's not a silly Christmas episode with a sketch comedian. Now it is the introduction of an extremely important character in a Christmas special from 2 years ago.
Yeah. And, retrospectively, the upcoming specials, not the next ones, but which we will quickly touch on, but the ones after that, bring together elements from all of the previous Christmas specials.
Yeah, they're like their own little sub-continuity where Christmas special stuff comes back.
It's very funny. Like, you you are actually paying attention to the plot of Doctor Who and you decide not to watch the Christmas special, you are seriously risking some major confusion in the
This
future.
has always been my frustration because I'm not a very Christmassy person. Um, and I resented having to go and subject myself to the, you know, extra Christmasified version of Doctor Who in order to have any idea what was ever happening because they were plot crucial. So it's simultaneously the episodes that are most likely to be watched by people who've not been watching Doctor Who and the episodes most likely to want to be skipped by people who just like regular Doctor Who, and in those ones we put all of our most crucial plot. Why? What?
Now, I will say, the 2008 one, The Next Doctor, does not do that, and it is much worse for it.
It is not good. It does a
I
classic version of we have cast a famous, or at least, we have cast one of those British actors who you see all the time, and it has not helped.
It is just so boring. I think in an attempt to make it
They
not.
tried to be contemplative or like slow paced drama or tense or something, and what they got was nothing happening.
They removed both most of the Christmas and most of the plot relevance, and they didn't replace it with anything.
Yeah, it is sort of running around Victorianish London for not a lot of purpose.
The Doctor in this one goes back to Victorian London and meets someone that he thinks must be a version of himself that has done a trick we saw in a previous episode to turn himself into a human with amnesia. Or,
Right,
well,
but she
fake
would only
memories.
do for like complicated and serious reasons. Crucially, I think that character also thinks he's done that.
So, sort of. The character thinks he's done that, but isn't clear on. So, he thinks he's still a Time Lord,
Yeah.
but he is
Yeah,
very
and the
clearly
doctor's
a
like, well,
human.
you're clearly not, but you must have turned human through Time Lord magic.
And it turns out it's sort of the opposite, which is he's a human who has had Doctor Who ness put in his brain as part of an evil plot.
I confess I do not remember at all what the evil plot was.
So the Cybermen are using child labour to create a giant robot.
Because we're
And
in Victorian London, therefore child labour is thematic.
one of the children abducted is the human guy, his name's Jackson, his son. And when he was trying to find his son to free him from the child labour, he accidentally absorbed a Cybermen, like, USB stick about the Doctor.
And now he thinks he's the doctor. And
And he's
also they
got
must free the
himself
children from the cyber mecha.
he's got himself a companion and a pocket watch and what he calls a TARDIS, and it's a hot air balloon and that kind of thing, like all the accoutrements of the Doctor.
Hmm.
And eventually, he and his companion team up with the Doctor to take on the giant Cyberman.
Yeah.
And that's really it. It's the only Christmassy thing is it's Victorian times and it's snowing.
Yeah, and because of Dickens, being Victorian is itself Christmassy.
Yeah. The problem is they've already done a Dickens episode with
They
ghosts, so
literally
they can't
did
do anything.
Dickens in the Snow as an episode with Charles Dickens.
That was like the second, no, the third
Like,
episode.
yeah, like the third or fourth. It's really early.
Like, they did that, I think, possibly before they even knew they were gonna get a Christmas special.
Right. So they do this like it's about a Christmas Carol with Charles Dickens, and it's in the snow, and it's like as Christmassy as you can be for like March.
And then they decide to do a Victorian Christmas special,
They
and they're
do a
like, "Shit,
Victorian
we've
Christmas
used
special. We
all the
used all of our
Victorian Christmas
themes.
stuff. Like, everything, we've used it. So it's
We
just
can't do
snowy."
Dickens, so we have to do like just Victorian snow.
And, like, "We're gonna get to it," but they did it again years later, like, did you not learn?
Well, the thing about Doctor Who is it runs for so long that the creative team turns over, and the people who learned are not the people who are making Doctor Who.
Sometimes I wonder, because, like, the thing with modern Doctor Who is it's created entirely by fans of Doctor Who.
Yes,
Or,
specifically
like,
people who grew
people
up
who
watching
don't,
it.
or, the odd person who doesn't feel too strongly about it but wants a job. But, like, people who have some relation to Doctor Who mostly.
Yeah, the creative driving team, like the main writers and directors, have all been people who grew up as fans of Doctor Who.
Now, on the one hand, I do find this actually, there will be mixed opinions about this, but I find the fan serviciness charming because it is a
Look, I was
family-led
excited as
show.
anyone else was when we got finally a Dalek.
Exactly, and the
I
Dalek episode is
enjoyed the
fucked.
fact that it was shot and directed as if it was a scary twist when both the trailer and the name of the episode had Dalek in it.
But at the same time, I think it does give it a weird relationship where a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to do that, but good," and they keep repeating their worst ideas that they screwed up every time.
Right, because if it went wrong the first time, sometimes it's because it's hard to do good. So if your plan is that but good, it's hard mode.
And also, and like we're guilty of this ourselves, it's very easy to look at something and go, "Oh, this was such a good idea. Why did they screw it up?" And quite often the reason they screwed it up is because a good concept does not always get easily translated into a good result.
Yes. Or sometimes it was
Ideas are
like a great
so cheap.
idea for a book, but what you were making was TV or similar things of like sometimes the problem is that you can't do that thing very well in the medium you're working in.
And the thing is, ideas are so cheap.
I can have 6 ideas before breakfast, but it will take me 2 years to write a book.
That's just how writing works. Like creating stuff. You can think about the great stuff you could create all day, but eventually you have to sit down and put pen to paper, and that's a whole new beast.
Yeah, the actual thing you make may not look very much like the idea you had. And I think that's
Anyway,
even more true when you had a great idea and then you wrote it down and then it went through some script editing and then it went through some like executive script editing and then it went through a costume department, a bunch of actors and some post processing.
anyway, fast forward 1 year. Speaking of repeating your ideas, the
Uh-huh.
master is back.
The master is back. That's never happened before.
An all-female cult has resurrected him.
Yes. Specifically it is the John Sim master who is back. It's the like enthusiastic twink master is back. The one who had a whole thing with the enthusiastic twink doctor of the time.
Just once, I want them to unsynchronize the twinkiness of the Doctor and the Master.
Yeah. Well, I was
I guess they
yeah.
kind of did that with 12 and Missy, but not really.
No, they're you know, I think she's
They're the
probably
same
younger because
age in
that's how.
Hollywood years where women age
Right,
at three times the rate
right.
of
It's the
men.
actor thing where he's like late middle age and she's early middle age, and even though there's 20 years between them in Hollywood years, that is the same age. Um,
But just once, I want Derek Jacobi to be
I
like
wonder. Yeah, I was
40.
very disappointed when Derek Jacobi turned into John Sims. I have to say
I want to see Derek Jacobi chasing like Ncuti Gatwa around a space station. That's all I ask.
that would be delightful.
It would be great. I want to see the old man hunting the twink for once. They gave us a flash of it with Jacobi and then they
And
took it away.
it was so good. And then he was like, "No, I want to be young as well." And then he was, which was the
If you're
disappointing
going to
part.
be young and sexy, I'm going to be young and sexy and turn you into Gollum.
Right, I'm gonna make you old with my time powers.
Whatever. Anyway, so it's Christmas. The Master's back. The
It's
Doctor has a
Christmas. The
scary head
Master has been
prophecy.
Dracula resurrected by his brides.
Now, I would say End of Time Part 1,
Hmm.
Part 2 for that matter, which was a New Year's special, as we mentioned, those
Hmm.
happened. Very little Christmas going on.
Right, this is the actual end of Tenant special, yes?
Yes.
Yes. No, it's not Christmassy.
It is
It's
canonically
just
taking
big
place at
drama,
Christmas.
huge stakes, so much plot, and I think Bernard Cribbins wears some antlers.
It is canonically taking place at Christmas, which is why he has antlers on.
Yeah, but like the Christmas content is that occasionally he reminds us that it's Christmas,
Also, it's snowy on the planet where the Doctor gets the prophecy that he's gonna die.
right? Because snow is what happens at Christmas.
There's a snowy planet for like 5 minutes, and then Bernard Cribbins has antlers. That is it.
I'm imagining a much weirder version of Doctor Who where Bernard Cribbins is some kind of fawn.
Also, I think I could be wrong about this. They appear to think that the President of the United States does like a King's speech that everyone watches. Which I know he does do a presidential address, but I'm not under the impression it has the same place societally as the King slash Queen's at that point's speech does in the UK.
I do not know. This is beyond. I mean, I believe your basic facts to be basically correct, but as far as the cultural significance of it, I have no idea.
But yeah, for some reason, Barack Obama appears to be giving the King's speech. Sure.
It's Doctor Who. These things happen.
Let us not get bogged down in the details of American politics in 2009.
It's not what we're here to do. We're here to discuss why have you put all of your plot in a two-parter special on Christmas Day and New Year's Day to be watched by the whole family, including the 5-year-old.
It's mad.
It's There's so much happening, and none of the characters are like introduced in a way where if you didn't already know who these people are, you would find out who they were.
Oh no, I don't think they ever tell you who Lucy, the Master's wife, is. Just she's
Right.
some lady who doesn't like him.
She's just there. A bunch of Time Lords turn up in their full Time Lord ceremonial robes. This is not explained.
They don't really. I mean,
There's
the
so
fact
much.
that there's
So much.
the Master, the Donna memory thing. Donna, at the end of her series, had a thing done to her brain where if she ever remembers the Doctor, she's going to die. And they don't really tell you that. They just show her, like, sort of exploding some Master clones, and Doctor's like, I wasn't ever going to leave her undefended. And if you don't know what's happened, you're just like, who was that lady? What was she
Who
defending
was
from?
that? What just happened? How
Was
do
that
these two
Catherine
know
Tate?
each other?
Was that Catherine Tate from Am I Bothered?
Was that Catherine Tate, the sketch comedian?
Why did he have special protections for Catherine Tate, the sketch comedian?
Yeah, they just full on abandon the this is a Christmas special and you should be able to. They don't try to make it accessible to an audience that didn't watch the last 3 series of Doctor Who.
It
Because
is.
Catherine Tate is not the most recent companion at that point.
No.
There's been
I
a
mean,
whole series of adventures have happened in between.
she was the most recent companion, but there had been a companionless stretch.
Yeah, the Doctor's gone on like a series, I think like 4 specials with no companion,
Yeah, it's
and
been over a year since Catherine Tate was in this show.
here she is, unexplained at Christmas. If you only watched the last Christmas episode, you have no idea what is happening. And
Johnson
it
was the Master
covers
a while ago.
right, and who the Master is isn't really like we get even more of the this is your childhood friend about whom you are not normal, which is the
Yeah,
best form
also
of
we
Master plot.
find out that he was like turned insane by a like Time Lord cult initiation ritual
Which is applied
on
to happen to.
purpose,
It's implied that it happens to basically everyone. They make all
but
the
they make
kids
him
look at the.
crazy with
Um,
it.
yeah, they make all the kids like look at the power source bigger than their head, and normally it just makes them, appropriately awed and
Terrified.
controlled and terrified and obedient to the hierarchy. But in his case, it gave him an auditory hallucination that turned him evil.
Which they did on purpose so that he could bring them all back from the dead after they'd all died in the
Yeah,
Time
he
War.
he's the escape route for after the Time War, which they somehow knew about, is that they turned the Master evil.
I mean, prophecy is real in this bit of Doctor Who, so.
Sure, and time travel is a thing. I'm just saying.
The
Um,
fantasy to sci-fi ratio of Doctor Who is highly changeable depending on writer.
look, that's not my problem with this. My
No, no,
problem
my
with
problem with
this
that
is
is that
is the it's okay. It's the equation between he's evil because he's insane and he's insane because he's evil, and we did that on purpose because insanity makes you evil. But we had nefarious plans.
I think my beef with it is more logistical, which is you are already throwing so much at people who have not been following Doctor Who on Christmas Day, and you're now saying also magic.
Yeah, no, my beef is you gave the guy auditory hallucinations and that turned him evil. Excuse me?
Yeah, you gave him magic evil drum beats so that he would raise you from the dead, which he then doesn't.
Which he then doesn't. And then, after we've resolved the plot, also we killed off the main character of this show again.
Yeah, so this is our final episode with David Tennant on New Year.
On New
It
Year's
is
Day,
New
on
Year's
part
Day.
two of a special.
New Year's Day isn't even like reliably a day people aren't working.
No. Like, it is a bank holiday, but it's one of the bank holidays where the shops will open.
Exactly, like Christmas Day, like a lot of the UK does grind to a halt, not all of it, but a lot.
Yeah, like the majority of stuff shuts down. Most public transport shuts down, even then, not all. Most shops, but not all. I think it's like Sunday trading rules.
Yeah.
Which I should briefly explain that there's like an exception. Like Sunday trading rules say you can't have your shop open more than a certain number of hours on Sundays in the UK, but that only kicks in when the physical size of the shop is above a certain size. So your little corner shops can be open, and also if you are selling, like if you're a takeaway selling food, you can be open on different rules. Like that's a different set of rules. Likewise on Christmas. So some takeaways will actually be open on Christmas. Some restaurants will be open. Your corner shop to sell you milk and bread will very often be open. Um, but New Year's
Yeah.
Day doesn't have the same level of restriction. Like, you can go and do your New Year's sale shopping on New Year's Day and the big shops will be open. Which means people working in the big shops are not at home watching Doctor Who.
Yeah, like you cannot assume that the entire family has nothing better to do than watch Doctor Who on New Year's Day, the same way you kinda can on Christmas Day, because even the little shops on Christmas Day will quite often only be open for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but New Year's Day, like on Christmas Day in Manchester where I live, there will be exactly one bus, and it's the bus that goes back and forth to the airport. On New Year's Day, they will run a Sunday schedule, which means most of the buses slightly less frequently. So the
It
bus
is
drivers will not be watching Doctor Who.
such a choice to have the Doctor die on New
Right.
Year's Day.
And also, here is our festive special. We have killed the main character of this show. In like a really tear-jerky way.
Yeah,
Which
like
increasingly is a thing about the Christmas episodes. Like the first few specials they did were not tearjerkers. They were quite light-hearted. They had like upbeat endings. This is meant to make you cry, and they increasingly do that in the more recent ones, where it's like, oh, it's the Christmas special. We are going to try to make you cry.
yeah, and I think actually the next one really exemplifies that because the next one, we've got a new Doctor, we've got two new companions. No one has died at the end of that series. We've got a new showrunner who is less into having horrible things happen at the end of every series.
Yeah,
Not into it, but
different
less
different
into it.
preoccupations,
Different
dramatically speaking.
preoccupations. And so a year later, our Christmas special is Christmas Carol themed. It's like a sort of sci-fi version of a Christmas Carol, which has, I think, genuinely the fun twist that the Christmas Carol is a story that the people in this story know, and they are deliberately reenacting,
Which is always fun. Yeah,
which I think is cute. Yeah, they're trying to get a miserly guy to save a bunch of people on a ship, which the Doctor's companions are both on, by putting him through the events of a Christmas Carol.
they're like, we watched the Muppets. This worked for them. We're gonna try.
The special celebrity appearance in this is an opera singer, which seems slightly less like someone who everyone would have heard of, but sure.
Yeah, like less of a household name.
I mean, she does sing some beautiful opera, which is
Right.
lovely
I
to
mean, I
have.
think I think the real reason to do an opera singer for your guest star is if you would like your guest star to sing you some opera. That's a great way to get someone who can do that.
Yeah. And this one, they are going for a tearjerker with two completely new Christmas special only characters, one of whom is the guest star.
Yeah, we brought some people in so that we could kill them off in an hour's time and make you sad about it.
Yeah, and give them a moving love story. I feel like this really falls flat for me.
I yeah. I don't think I watched this one because I wasn't a huge fan of Matt Smith as the Doctor, and I'm not a huge fan of Christmas specials, so I don't think I ever actually watched this one. I think this is the point where I stopped watching the Christmas specials.
Yeah, I think this was the last one I watched because I likewise was not a huge fan of Smith's Doctor. Partly because I was just slightly outgrowing Doctor Who at that point.
Yeah, and I think likewise for me, it's like I was no longer 16. Like the time of my life when Doctor Who was a real lifeline had started to pass.
Yeah, like I was in early secondary school when this came out, and I had just sort of, I mean, quite aside from anything else, I had internet access, so I could watch other sci-fi shows.
Yeah, I mean, in 2005, you could have given me Doctor Who where you had just dubbed a first year university student reading lines over a ping pong ball, and I would have watched it. You could have, I would have probably have written fanfic about the ping pong ball getting whumped.
Yeah,
But at this point, we're like 5 years post that, and I was not in the same place in my life. And Doctor Who was no longer like, I have to watch this. It was just one of the things I could do with my time, and I did not choose to use my time to watch Doctor Who Christmas specials.
yeah, like between A Christmas Carol in 2010 and The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe in 2011, I had discovered Supernatural.
Ah, and you had a different thing to preoccupy you.
I just, went on a years long fantasy over sci-fi kick.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
And I
kind
think
of lost interest in it.
in my case, I also just had not learned the lesson that they were going to put massive plot points in the Christmas specials. Somehow, this obvious fact had not occurred to me, so I was like, it's a Christmas special, it won't be important
Now,
anyway.
to
Which
be
I was
fair,
so wrong.
to be fair, Moffat is less of a fan of doing that, at least in Smith's era.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think
Because
the couple that I watched for this were less of the these are absolutely plot relevant, but not because one of them was a regeneration episode.
yeah, so we have a few. So we have um first A Christmas Carol, then The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, then The Snowman. You
Obviously,
might see a
Narnia
theme
themed.
here. These are all themed around Christmassy classics.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how big The Snowman is overseas. It's inescapable here.
It's a cult, honestly.
Oh
Or
god, it's
not
so
not
annoying.
okay. No clarification. It is a cult object.
Yeah. It's a very irritating, high-pitched castrato song that is inescapable at this time of year.
I used to be very proud of my ability to sing it back when I was a soprano. I
Yeah, I
also
think
used
I
to watch
also
it
did it a
every
couple of.
year as a ritual thing when I was a small child and did not decide what the rituals were going to be.
Yeah, I did not grow up on it. I was in choir, so I did perform it quite a few times. Um,
I don't think I ever actually performed it, but there was a whole thing of like we put the Christmas tree up and then we watched the snowman.
yeah, it was not ever in my household's Christmas tradition, for which I thank both God and Jesus because it sucks.
It's fine. It's like a 20-minute, 30-minute pencil animation about a boy making a snowman and then going on a little magical adventure flight with the snowman, and then comes back, and then in the morning the snowman has melted, and there's a song, and it's fine. It is absolutely fine for an 8-year-old. For some
Yeah.
reason, it is still being played on the radio.
Yeah.
Not even
Um,
like the like lyrical semi-classical radio. I mean, it gets played on the radio they play in my office, which is usually absolute 80s.
anyway, um, Christmas Carol and The Doctor, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I've seen Christmas Carol, haven't seen The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
I also have not, therefore nothing to say on it.
My
Apart
understanding
from,
of
I
the
assume
movie.
it was Narnia themed.
I did look up a summary of it, but I was catching up on other ones.
Yeah.
My It does not appear to be particularly plot relevant.
Uh-huh.
It is set in World War II, and there is a wardrobe that has a forest in it. That seems to be about the extent of the Narnia.
You probably can't do a lot more than that without having to grapple with the, content
Jesus.
of Narnia, which is that it's a Jesus allegory. So you have to like it's a lot more Christmassy than you actually want it to be, because what you wanted was for it to be snowing. And in Narnia, instead it's like, and now we're doing Easter. Like
Yeah.
very literally gory Easter.
The
We
next
are
one is the
killing this
snowman.
lion.
The next one is the snowman,
The next one
which
is the
is
snowman.
we're back in Victorian London because there's like six doctors running around Victorian London in any given Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair, this one does feature evil snowmen.
That is Truth in advertising.
It's also back to the plot crucial Christmas specials.
Hooray!
So this one introduces the mystery of Clara Oswin Oswald.
Oh yes, no, I do know about. I've never watched this one, but I do know it was plot relevant because I ever subsequently had no idea what was going on with Clara because I hadn't watched the Christmas special in which Clara
Yeah.
was introduced in the mystery setup. So after that, I was just like, apparently Clara's weird.
So she was not introduced in the Christmas special. She did feature in the previous series.
I think it was a classic one of they brought her in for one episode, decided they actually wanted her for a season, and then had to like find a way to bring her back. But rather than recast her in a new role, they found a way to connect the things.
Yeah, so the mystery of Clara is that basically variations of what appears to be the same woman have shown up twice in the Doctor's life and both times died saving him.
Yeah, and he's like,
So
well,
he
that's
finds
impossible. You
her
can't both be the same.
so he finds her in 21st century England because that's where everything plot relevant happens.
Yep. As we know, the focal point of the universe is 21st century England,
And it
specifically
is on the
London, if at all possible.
yes. Though she is from up north, so points there.
Yeah, and there is often sometimes things are in Cardiff because that's where they were filming.
Yeah. Cardiff canonically is more important than London, but in terms of where things actually happen, it's definitely not.
Yeah,
Clara is introduced in the main series, but the sort of mystery of Clara is introduced in The Snowmen, the Christmas special.
as is obvious and logical to do because Christmas specials are where plot happen.
And as you mentioned, the next Christmas special, The Time of the Doctor, which I think you did watch,
I think so, yes.
this is
Probably.
the one where Matt Smith dies.
I definitely remember Matt Smith dying, but I don't remember
The,
anything about it apart from that Matt Smith died.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so
But it rings a bell. I remember the whole thing with the Pandorica, but I think he survived that.
yeah, no, that was way back in his first series.
Yeah, no, he survived being briefly put in an eternity prison.
Yeah, that wasn't a special, that was just a regular end of series, whereas The Time of the Doctor in 2013, which I think is the only one of these that the only one of these that neither of us remembers because I have watched so far I've watched nearly all of them and I think we managed to catch up on all of them between the two of us.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, is the one where Matt Smith dies. So by 2013 we are back to could probably just
Right, we are
cut all
back
of the
to
time
if you come
remembering
back if
one
you
that we've
watched the
seen.
series and you skipped the Christmas special and you came back for the next series, the main character is now a different guy.
Yeah. So by 2013 we are back to these are so plot heavy.
They're so important. They're not
Characters are
skippable.
dying in them.
Doctor Who is blackmailing you to watch the Christmas special by putting the deaths in them.
I mean, I kind of respect the hustle, but I will say I did not watch any of 12's Christmas specials.
Those were the ones that I went back and watched because I really liked 12.
I really
Um,
liked 12, but I just couldn't do it with the Christmas
I
specials.
didn't watch them at the time. They're just the ones that I went back and watched a couple of this time because I was like, well, I need to watch some of the Christmas specials that Dia hasn't watched so that we can talk about some stuff. I'm going to watch 12s because at least I like 12.
So, do you want to talk me through Peter Capaldi's Christmas specials?
I don't know if I watched all of them because I don't remember how many series he was in. Let me just pull up the list of Doctor Who Christmas specials, which I'm sure is a page.
Yeah, there's a Wikipedia page. I've been using it to get the dates
Doctor
right.
Who Christmas specials. Wikipedia list of Doctor Who Christmas and New Year's specials. Thank you, Wikipedia, for making our podcast.
Thank
Uh,
you, Wikipedia editors.
yeah, I remember skipping the time of the Doctor. Now I'm looking at the summary. I definitely did not watch Last Christmas, which is the first 12th Doctor one with Clara. And I know I didn't watch it because well, this doesn't track at all with anything that I have watched. Oh, it does contain the excellent line, Clara is slowly devoured by a crab.
These things happen to you when you're on Doctor Who.
It appears to be some kind of crab-based inception.
Sure, Crabception. Why not?
They're trying to save their fellow base personnel who have been taken over by dream crabs.
Sure.
Right, I didn't watch it. Um,
Actually, I
it,
think I
does
remember
appear,
seeing ads for that one.
it appears to be plot relevant in the sense that this is the one where 12 like actually recruits Clara, in the sense if he reunites with Clara and he's like, "Do you want to come and travel with me?" And then we have some Clara time um,
Yeah.
in the main series. I watched The Husbands of River Song, which was from
Now, this
20.
I believe was a plot relevant one that I have not seen because I do not find River Song interesting.
Yeah, this appears to be like the final, or at least was um, being put forward as, I don't know if they have or will change their mind on this, um, but is certainly being portrayed as this is like the final encounter. Like this is River Song finally leaving the series. Um, River Song has been popping up throughout Doctor Who since about 2006,
Yeah,
2007. Like it's the Tennant
since
era.
Catherine Tate days.
Yeah. Um, where she is, a human from the far future. And the first time that, from her perspective, that so that the Doctor meets her on the first time from the Doctor's perspective on what is for her the last time.
Yeah,
Um,
they're time
they have
traveler's
a sort of
wifing it.
yeah, they have a time traveler's wife thing where they like keep meeting throughout all of time and space, but not in order. And they have a romance going on through this. And this one, Husbands of River Song, is we open on a like Victorian looking street in the snow, and Matt Lucas is here.
Yeah,
So instantly I'm having a bad time.
it's never a good time when Matt Lucas is here.
It's just not. And
Except on
then
Bake Off, where he does get points for me for how much he viscerally hates Paul Hollywood, which is very funny.
that that would be an upside. But like
I
I
will
just can't
watch
forgive him.
two men I find annoying ruin each other's days all week.
I don't enjoy Matt Lucas's performances basically in anything, and I cannot forgive him for Little Britain. So between those two things,
I don't know
I'm
how
having a bad
anyone
time.
can.
Um,
I think
and then
people
we meet
who
another.
enjoyed
then we meet
Matt Lucas on Doctor Who are people who either are too young or too non-British to be aware of Little Britain.
Yeah, possibly, and who possibly find the sort of comedic stylings amusing. The plot of this is stupid and unimportant. Um, Shocking, I know, for a Doctor Who episode.
It's a Doctor Who Christmas special.
Doctor
How
Who
could
Christmas
it be
special.
such a thing?
It's but the actual like the meat of it is actually just um, that River doesn't recognize the Doctor's new face and isn't picking up on his extremely strong and explicit hints that he is in fact the Doctor, not just a Doctor, because she needed a surgeon to cut her husband's head off. But he's upset by that because like what she's got like 3 husbands in this, which is the joke. She doesn't care about any of them in the slightest except for the Doctor. Um, what really struck me about this is like the last appearance of River, as they go and have like their last date, which turns out to be on a planet where like it has
And
been
like,
said that their last date is a night on the planet Derillium, and then the Doctor is like, yeah, it's 24 years long. He makes a little speech about how well, he and River both make speeches about what it means to love or be loved by the Doctor, and sometimes when you need him, he'll be there, and then sometimes when you need it, there'll be a song. She's River's song. But what really the most interesting thing about this is actually the starship Harmony and Redemption, which they crash into a planet by accident, and it is notable because both of them are like time traveling swashbuckling heroes. So they're both like competing over. No, I'm going to save the ship. You get in the TARDIS. No, I'm going to save the ship. You get in the TARDIS. And then they both are like, never mind. Let's get in the TARDIS before we die. And in order to make this fair and okay that they have not saved anyone off this ship, it is explicitly established that in order to get a spot on this cruise ship, you have to prove that you have done genocide. Even
what?
to work as staff on this ship, you have to have provable murder sprees. They have set it up very explicitly. Don't worry, everyone on this ship is a bad person, explicitly, openly, provably, with documentation, a bad person, so it's fine that we didn't save them.
Okay, but like the Doctor has done
I
genocides.
know! I know! And like the staff on this ship are like, oh yes, Miss Song, your table is ready, which strongly suggests that River has done genocides.
Like we know she's at very least a murderer.
Right, and she's very welcome on this ship that is only open to the most evil and slaughtery people. Uh, and it's not that Doctor and River go, oh, it's fine that they're dead because they were all murderers. Although the Doctor does say, don't worry, no one's going to miss anyone who was in that wreckage. Um, but it's clearly there so that the audience won't go, why didn't they save anyone? It's fine, they're all bad people.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. And the Christmas content is when they finally get to having is it's snowing on the original planet, and then when they get to their last date on the fancy restaurant at the final planet, oh, the only available reservation date is Christmas Day in 4 years' time. And the Doctor's like, that's fine, I've got a time machine.
So
But
this sounds mad.
they specifically set up that every single person on this boat is a certifiable with documentation official bad person. And I think it is literally just so that when they crash the ship with no survivors apart from the Doctor and River who get off on the TARDIS, it's fine, don't worry about it.
The
I
thing
think that's
is,
the reason to do that. Which
the
is
thing is, the Doctor has always had like a bit of a weird moral greyness where they always hint at it, but they can never delve too deep because, tiny kiddies.
right. And also
But this
quite
feels like a
consistently
weird
you save
ethical twist
anyone
to
you
throw in
can.
on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, we're gonna introduce the is it okay to leave people to die if they're bad people?
Sure.
It's fine. It's fine that this character's children who have been discussed are going to be left fatherless because he's a bad person
He's only as bad a person as the protagonist.
who is welcome on this ship that is specifically for bad people. Yeah, I don't know either. That was what I came away from the thing going. I was like, well, we've had two like slightly forced speeches. We've had a deliberate tear jerky ending as the Doctor and River talk about how they love each other forever despite things ending and everything has to end because everything has a time. It's a meditation on the inevitability of death, which also is a weird thing to do at Christmas. But that they wanted to put a tear jerky ending, so that's the conversation that the Doctor and River had. And meanwhile, they're in the wreckage of like, it's okay that all of these people are dead because they're all murderers anyway. We're all murderers both, but it doesn't matter.
Now,
It's fine.
I haven't seen it, so I could be wrong, but doesn't the Doctor spend all of this episode knowing it's the last time River will ever see him or he'll ever see her?
Mm, no. Um, he spends it suspecting, but not knowing
Because he gives
until
her the
they get to
little
like.
data chip thing, right?
No, he doesn't give her a data chip thing.
Does
He
he not
takes
give
her
her the
on what has
screwdriver
been.
with?
Oh, he does give her. He gives her.
Because that's got the little chip inside that lets the Tenant Doctor save her life, right?
I don't remember that. That was 10 years ago.
I'm sorry, did you not refresh your memory of every episode of Doctor Who
I
ever before
no,
you
I
watched the Christmas special?
no, I didn't. I was just like, "Happy Christmas! Here's a sonic screwdriver," because I've been making fun of your sonic trowel this whole episode.
Yeah,
And I
no,
was like,
in
"Yeah,
the
that sounds like
silent
a Doctor Who thing."
in the library two-parter, the Doctor had given her his sonic screwdriver that has the voice chip thing that Tennant uses to save her like memory in the library databanks.
I did not remember that in the least.
Well, you
Okay,
should have brushed up on it before sitting down to watch a Christmas special.
clearly, no. In this Christmas special, he clearly suspects that. Has clearly worked it out by that point. Although the audience, had not worked that out because that's like a non-voiced physical reference to a thing from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it has been almost a decade at this point.
Right. And it's but no, he's because River has been sad because she's like, I've nearly finished, like filled up the space in my diary, and it was given to me by the kind of person who would know how long of a diary you needed, which fair enough.
Time travel, that might happen, sure.
And yeah, whatever. And but he's figured it out by then because he's taken her for their last date on what is rumored to have always been like the rumor has always been that this was the last night they spent together, but the last night they spent together is 24 years. So
Sure.
cute. Um, I did not watch the 2016 one, The Return of Dr. Mysterio, because that was such a non-Christmassy name and thumbnail that I assumed that The Return of Dr. Mysterio was like the first episode of the next series and not the next Christmas special.
So my understanding, I also did not watch it because I thought you were watching it, but my understanding is that it is indeed the Christmas special and that it is superhero themed.
It does appear to be superhero themed. There appears
Sure,
to be a superhero called the Ghost, an alter ego for Grant Gordon,
that might as well happen.
whom the Doctor met several years before when Grant was a child and accidentally turned him into the superhero, which that's the Amy Pond plot.
I kind of like that they're now just doing genre parodies for Christmas.
Honestly, if you're gonna do a Doctor Who Christmas special, it might as well be a superhero parody.
Why not? It appears to not have been plot crucial, which I appreciate.
It does not appear to be plot crucial. Um, our superhero like catches a spaceship before it can fall into New York, which is classic
Because the
superhero stuff,
next one,
and then throws it into the
which
and
you
then
did
we had
watch,
Twice Upon a Time, which I did watch Twice Upon a Time, and
now
I
my
did not
understanding is that
enjoy.
this is not only plot crucial, but that it is one hell of a throwback episode.
It is plot crucial. It is massive nostalgia fest. It only sort of makes sense because I have watched actually some really old Doctor Who, but because I hadn't watched the most recent season, it only sort of made sense. And it has a throwback to like something from 3 years ago in the 12th Doctor's early episodes. And it's not very good. Like as a piece of
Amazing combo.
television, it was not very good.
Yeah.
Partly because you can't do a good piece of television when what the actual content of it is. Look, it's the Brigadier's dad.
Oh God. You know, for all those people who remember the Brigadier on Christmas Day,
Right.
the
That beloved.
Brigadier, for listeners, is a character who I think had literally not been mentioned more than once in New Who at this point.
No, no, I'm afraid that's incorrect because we've had a whole thing with the Brigadier's daughter repeatedly coming back as the head of
Oh yeah, that happened
new
by now.
unit.
I thought that came after this.
No, that had happened by now. So we've
Yeah, so his
established
daughter has come back.
his daughter has come back. Um, and I
Because it was like
initially
a
thought,
plot twist that she was his daughter, wasn't it?
yes, yeah, they like she doesn't like because he has a very distinctive surname Lethbridge Stewart,
And she introduces herself as Kate Stewart and eventually reveals
but
it's
it's
actually
actually
Lethbridge
Lethbridge
Stewart.
Stewart. At which point we understand her to be the daughter of this character from the Fourth Doctor era. Bear in mind, at this point we are on number 12.
Yeah. I hope you were paying attention.
Hope you were paying
Um,
attention because we are fully doing stuff from 40 years ago.
40 years ago?
This is stuff
Jesus.
from the 70s.
Yeah. So his dad is now here. Sure.
Right, so we actually start this episode
I
with
guess to
some
New Who
spliced
viewers
together
then you
shots
can
of.
say at least that's Kate's granddad rather than the Brigadier's dad.
Yes. Except that at first I was like, oh, it's the Brigadier, and they've just recast him. Because this episode opens with some shots of the first Doctor in black and white actual archival footage. Here are like pieces, like some shots from episodes of the first Doctor, like the original Doctor Who. But we also want to be able to
Yeah.
use this character in the episode, so we switch into colour and we recast the Doctor and his two companions, who are very unconvincingly his two companions, I have to say. And I'm like, fine, okay, this guy is the first Doctor. I understand television to be fictional. I understand what I have been shown. I can read this thing that has been shown to me. This is the same character played by a different guy. Fine.
And I haven't watched this one, but from the promotional stuff I saw, he it's not that he looks like him, but he seems to be doing a pretty good impression.
He did a pretty good impression. He did a pretty good impression of some of the distinctive, like, physical acting, like the stuff he would do with his hands. The costume was right. And, like, fundamentally, I understood that I was supposed to be seeing the same character. Unfortunately, they then showed me somebody who was clearly both a British actor I recognised,
Yeah.
as often happens on Doctor Who, and dressed like the Brigadier.
Helpful, yeah.
Right, they showed me someone who was simultaneously an actor I recognised and clearly intended to remind me of the Brigadier, a character whose actor is dead. In the next scene from having done this with the First Doctor, a character whose actor is dead. So for the first 3/4 of this, I thought this was the Brigadier. Because I don't recognise rank markers on World War I uniforms.
Why would you? Like,
Exactly. That is
obviously
specialist
some
knowledge that
people
I
can.
don't have. It was 100 years ago.
Also, even just, like, remembering what the Brigadier wears, it was 40 years ago.
Right. I was like, "Oh, guy who looks like the Brigadier, clearly in the British Army. I guess this is the Brigadier." And
It's
then
also
he's
interesting to me because the classic Who fan service in New Who has always leaned, like, quite hard into Doctors 4 through 6,
yeah. Well,
because those are the Doctors that people who are sort of
right, bringing back the
Stephen
first
Moffat and
Doctor
David Tennant's age grew up watching.
bringing back the first Doctor is an interesting choice, because the first Doctor is, like, 70 years ago. No one remembers the first Doctor.
And it sort of would have made sense for the Brigadier to be there to sort of bridge the gap, no pun intended, between the first Doctor and the current Doctor,
Yeah.
which is that we've had callbacks to the Brigadier's era.
Right, but what actually happens is that, this guy, who it turns out is who eventually, about three-quarters of the way through, starts being referred to as the Captain. Fine. At which point I was like, I was still like, "Oh, are we on an alternate timeline?" I still, like, up until the end, thought we were on an alternate timeline version of the Brigadier, where because he was gonna die from being shelled instead of from whatever he died of, subsequent Doctor nonsense, um, was not yet a Brigadier. So it was like, "Oh, earlier in the timeline, I still understand what's going on. This is still the same guy." It is not the same guy. Um, he does almost nothing in this plot. Like, he turns up, um, in a shell hole with a wounded German soldier, both of them pointing guns at each other, and he does a little bit about how I only want to shoot you in self-defense, but you don't know that, and you might shoot me in self-defense because you know that I might shoot you in self-defense. I wish you could speak English. Or I wish I could speak German. War is hell, isn't it? That's a quote.
Such writing.
Incredible writing, incredible performances. Truly, I was moved. And then he falls through time to the South Pole, which is much more Doctor Who, to be fair. And
Sure.
just sort of tags along on an adventure, which is the first Doctor being sexist and awful, and treating the 12th Doctor like a teenage son who he doesn't like very much. The 12th Doctor trying to actually resolve this problem. Both of them ignoring the fact that they are currently actively putting off their regenerations. Um, then he goes and visits a planet where there's the one good Dalek because he forcibly, like, morally converted a Dalek in a sort of fantastic adventure from the inside, get shrunk down and wander around inside the Dalek case thing in one of his
I
very early
recall
episodes.
this as one of the episodes I skipped, yes.
Yeah. So that Dalek is back. But that Dalek apparently still has access to the Dalek hive mind, which the Doctor then uses as a database to figure out what's going on, which is not important.
I was going to ask questions, but it clearly doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, that is literally just the thing that is going on while the Doctors argue and be nostalgic. Um,
Sure,
there's a,
because this
like,
is
brought
because
back
like
version of
the
his most
final.
recent companion who is fake because she is a version of the memories brought back.
Well, also because in the same way that we mentioned the New Year's Day one was a sort of final hurrah for David Tennant and indeed the showrunner Russell T Davis, this
Hmm.
was the hurrah episode for Capaldi and Moffat as a
Right,
duo.
and if I was a showrunner, I wouldn't have picked this for my, like, this is what I want to do for my last hurrah. I want to bring, like, the Brigadier's dad to do nothing but literally be confused and in shock and be given brandy. Like, he does nothing. He doesn't do anything. He has
Well, no,
no
but the
actions.
RTD final hurrah had an old man hanging out, so they have to have an old man hanging out. It had a cameo from Sarah Jane, so they had to have a cameo from like older series guy.
Yeah,
It had the Master, so this one has a Dalek.
yeah.
The
And
maths is mathing.
it's always big news when we bring back an old Doctor and a new Doctor, which we once did for, like, a Red Nose Day thing. Um, But this time we're going all the way back. We're doing the biggest bring back ever. We're bringing back the first Doctor. We have no characterization for him
No.
apart from
You also,
being a man of his time, that being the time that the TV show was made, rather than the Doc. Like, what are you doing
I mean,
here? Like, there's a whole
I
bunch of,
have
like, talking
seen.
about how fragile women are that just doesn't seem
I mean, that's
pointy.
also just not very in character. Like, he was sexist, but he didn't say sexist stuff. He
He
just
was
had a low
sexist.
opinion of women.
Right, and the thing is, he was sexist in the manner of the time when the TV show was being made. He wasn't unusually sexist for the
And, like,
time that the
by
show was
the
being made.
yeah, the sexism of the mid-60s was not, like, doing lectures on how fragile women are.
Right. It's just not very good. Um,
It's not it's just not characterization that makes sense for the
yeah,
first Doctor.
but we have a series of
Who
we have a
also, I'd like to point
tearjerker.
out, had more women in his companion crew than
Uh huh.
12.
Uh huh. But what we get at the end of this, having determined that it's literally just a machine that archives people's memories, that's brought back a version of Bill, which is 12's companion, um, in order to. The reason that the memory storing thing has done this is in order to resolve a paradox brought about by both the Doctors refusing to regenerate. That's it. There's nothing else happening. It's not an evil plot. The Doctor
Wait,
even says,
but
"Oh, it's not an evil plot. I don't know what to do when it's not an evil plot," which feels like a cry from the writer.
I was about to question the continuity of this, but fine.
Like it just feels like maybe the writer didn't know what to do when it wasn't an evil plot. Um, but then we have three tear jerk moments in a row
Okay.
because we have like we take the captain, who we finally ask his name and learn that he's Captain Lethbridge Stewart. Ah, yeah, it's the Brigadier's old dad, and we take him back to his shell hole so he can like say his manful stiff upper lip goodbyes and get back into position, ready to be shot by this German. But it's okay. We've brought him back a couple of hours later because it's Christmas and it's the Christmas armistice, and everyone breaks out singing, and they don't have to shoot each other after all.
Did they sing? Doesn't matter.
Certainly in the episode, the Germans start singing "Silent Night,"
Sure,
and then
might
the
as well
British join
happen.
in, and then they all come out and shake hands, and nobody has to shoot each other. And the Doctor gives a little speech about how this has never happened anywhere ever again. I'm like, in
I
all
don't
of time
know.
and space, I feel like a religiously significant date might lead to a spontaneous armistice. That just seems like a thing people might do.
I think people really don't want to kill each other a lot of the time.
Right. And it's a
Like, any
tragedy. This is not a
excuse.
hopeful moment. Like, it's put forward as a hopeful moment that yeah, this one time in all of time and space, this once, everyone just stopped killing each other. And I'm like, no, this is a tragedy. Because what this is you could have just stopped at literally any other time. And what you did was stop this once and then go back to killing each other. That's the tragedy. What?
This
But
is
that's
famously a stupid war that didn't have to happen,
right.
where
World
everyone
War One of all
died.
wars. There was no good side. It was just dumb.
Everyone fucking died for no reason, and it
They
didn't
killed.
have to happen.
Right. There's an aerial shot where they pull up so you can see, and it's like this tiny stretch of land between the trenches. And you know, because you like actually know some history, that like they spent like 2, 3 years murdering each other over that stretch of land that's 50 yards wide.
And they were kids, you know?
They were kids. They were like 17, a lot of them.
That is bleak.
Right, but it's put forward as this heartwarming moment, deliberately set up as a tearjerker. And then immediately after that, we have a last goodbye between the Doctor and Bill and his other companion, who it turns out is also Matt Lucas.
Yeah, Matt Lucas was around for a long time.
Right, but it's a different character being played by Matt Lucas because, like, the
Yeah.
first one in the previous Christmas episode was a decapitated head inside a Space Marine suit by the end of the.
No, yeah, Matt Lucas
Different
as a
character.
companion was around for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sorry to have missed that. Um,
Yeah.
but they come back and they like say their goodbyes and have a little group hug. Tearjerker moment number two, and then the Doctor gets back on the TARDIS and sets it off in flight because now he's accepted that he does have to regenerate. And he gives a speech to his next regeneration, setting out like the rules of being the Doctor.
Which, to be fair, I have seen this scene, and I really like it.
I really disliked it. I was watching this whole scene going, what a waste of Peter Capaldi's last scene with you. You've
I
got
think the
this
thing is,
actor, you've got an actor who did Heaven Sent for you and made it fantastic. And
God, heaven,
you've
that's
got
so
him
good.
running around the control room at weird angles, bombastically delivering platitudes as his last scene. What are you doing?
I think the thing is, the fact that this is like a credo that's been so big in the extended Doctor Who universe, and that Peter Capaldi put so much of his version of Doctor Who was wanting to appeal to kids and make it easy for little kids to play Doctor Who. I
Yeah,
really like that this felt like it was so of what Capaldi wanted his Doctor to be,
that's fair. Yeah, yeah,
which
and
was
as
like,
an actor, if you want this to be, as we talked about with Warrior Cats, like Doctor Who is a show you can play,
yeah, like that's
and this
why
is a set
Doctor
of rules for playing the Doctor.
this is like because like the never cruel nor cowardly speech is something that's been around in Doctor Who media, never like a sort of set creed, but is as a sort of pick and mix bag of things the Doctor believes.
Yeah,
And it's like particularly big in the extended universe. I was always a Doctor Who novels fan. I had a physics teacher at school who wrote them, which is like he
that's
was the
fun.
best teacher. We loved him. Um, And Capaldi always talked about wanting his Doctor Who to be like accessible and relatable to kids. That's why he always wore very low key costumes that a kid could replicate. That's why he had stuff like Sonic Screwdriver became Sonic sunglasses, and
Because
he
any
played
set of
guitar.
sunglasses, instead of needing the special, because like instead of needing the very specific cash-in toy, some sunglasses will do. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think what I really like about this scene is it feels incredibly true to what Capaldi wanted his Doctor to be, which is
that's fair. Yeah,
like very much a by fans for fans Doctor, but also one that is bringing a generation of new fans into that community.
I can see in my mind's eye in another 50 years Doctor Who being made by kids who like internalize that speech, and it just keeps being repeated. Just
Yeah, that'll
every
happen.
Christmas special, they're repeating the lines. They're saying the lines again.
That'll happen. Yeah. I mean, we've already had like return cameos from 13, who at this point in our rundown we haven't even got to yet.
Right, we get to 13 in the last scene of this episode because this is also a regeneration episode because that's what we do in Christmas specials. We do
We
55
kill off
minutes
the main
of
character.
right, we do 55 minutes of throwback nostalgia to the Brigadier's dad and then we regenerate.
Sure. Might as well happen.
But the 13's introduction is adorable because she shows up and like we and they treat she's a woman as like a big reveal, but it doesn't particularly feel forced because they always do because not always, but like that's the thing you can do with the regeneration is like do shots of the hands and the like feet and the like from the back and just like withhold the reveal of the actor who we all know is the actor because these things get like announced to the press months in advance.
Yeah.
Um, but then you get this shot of like so we as the audience like get the first shot of 13's actual face about the time where you can see that she is realizing like coming like getting the sense of what her own shape now is, and she's just like, "Oh, brilliant," which is fantastic. Like, I do love that. And she's like, "This is great.
I
Actually,
love it.
I regret nothing about regenerating. I am here for this." And then the TARDIS suffers severe faults. She falls out the door, and it appears to explode because a classic way to start a new Doctor is without their TARDIS. I never watched any of 13, but I recognise this as a setup for a classic new Doctor start.
Yes, I this is actually the point where I started watching Doctor Who again because I started dating a Doctor Who fan.
Aha, that'll do it.
So I think this is the last one I didn't see before I picked it up again. I have since gone back and watched 12 and was quite into it.
Mhm.
But I did watch the subsequent series and yeah, she does just crash to earth. It's great.
But she appeared to be
It's a
falling over
very
London, which is again, that's where everything important in the universe happens.
Nope, not London, up north.
Ah, that's strange.
Yeah, I know. They're God,
There are more than one
is it
city in
Sheffield?
Britain.
I'm pretty sure it's Sheffield.
Sheffield will make sense because I think that sounds like but I don't know whether it's where
Yeah.
she's from. But she's got a somewhat northerly accent, I think.
Yeah, actually relatively little London in Whitaker's run. It was a lot of Sheffield.
Pick a place and stick to it.
Yeah, it works. All her companions are from there, so they go back to visit their families or
Right,
whatever.
exactly. That's partly why London kept coming up was that Rose was from a specific estate in London.
Yeah, Rose, Martha, and Donna are all from London.
Yeah,
Whereas, yeah, 13's companions are all from up north, as was Clara, but Clara was from up north living in London.
she was living in London, so it was still London. Yeah,
Exactly. But yeah, now we are discovering a different alien conspiracy every time we go to Sheffield, including in the next Christmas special,
Yay! I love
which
alien
is
conspiracies.
which is actually a New Year's special. I think this was the first year they did a New Year's special without a Christmas special.
Yeah, it looks like actually for all of Whitaker's run, they did New Year specials
Yeah, I
instead.
think so. I think didn't they at one point do a Christmas and a New Year, or was that who knows? Okay, not the point.
Wikipedia suggests it was just New Year ones.
Sure. So yeah, we go into Whitaker's run, and I would say this kind of we go back to the this is just an episode of Doctor Who, but at Christmas.
Yeah.
So, and the thing that I will say about the Whitaker series is they didn't tend to do a lot of the classic villains at first. Like we started with some original alien species,
Hmm.
and they saved the big guns for the specials.
Was it Cybermen or Daleks?
Daleks, first off.
Uh-huh.
Dalek out of its shell, which I loved as a twist,
Ooh,
actually.
squishy Dalek.
Yeah, so some archaeologists, played by relatively famous guest actors, discover a squidgy facehugger alien that hitches a ride home by possessing one of the archaeologists and puts together its own its own casing to become a proper Dalek that can attack people.
Such as you might build in your shed out of a bin.
Pretty much, yes. But yeah, there is almost nothing Christmassy about this one except that it takes place at Christmas ish. It's
Is it
like
snowing?
winter time. It's on New Year's Day, specifically the episode, so it doesn't have to happen on
Doesn't
Christmas.
yeah, it doesn't it's a little bit freed from the this must be a Christmas thing.
It does have a touching family reconciliation just to get you like feelsy.
Because you gotta have a tearjerker at the end. Like a happy tearjerker is fine, but you gotta cry at the end of the Doctor Who Christmas special. It's the law.
Yeah. The next Christmas special is actually this is a bananas choice, a part one,
A part one. Uh-huh.
which I think is why I misremembered it as happening on Christmas and then New Year, because that would make
Right, because
sense.
that would make sense for a two-parter, but no, we just released part one as our Christmas special.
Yeah,
Come
New
back
Year's Day, part one, let's
sometime in
go.
our regular schedule for part two.
And we are still bringing back in the classics.
This time it's gotta be Cyberman.
It's the Master.
It's the Master!
He surprised you again.
I'm always delighted to see the Master,
So yeah,
even when
in
he's a
this
twink.
one, um, basically the Doctor and her companions get called in by MI6 to do spy shit, which
Classic.
apparently is the thing that happens now.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally it's been UNIT, but like the Doctor has had some concerning connections to the military-industrial complex for some time.
Yeah, we don't think too hard about the unit situation.
It is best not to. The show really discourages you from thinking too hard about the period of the Doctor's life
Mostly
where he
because
just worked
the
for the
Doctor
government.
the Doctor as a character is explicitly anti-military, anti-gun, anti-violence.
Apart from the 3 or 4 years
Specialist
where
little
he
guide,
worked for an armed unit task force. Yes,
which he
an armed
doesn't
UN
talk
task
about,
force. Um, just don't think about it. Don't
which
worry
he's
about it.
embarrassed by.
Which he's embarrassed by.
But yeah, so the Doctor is called in by MI6, not UNIT this time, to do some spy shit, and connects with an agent she already knows, and who she's got like a long-term relationship with. And at some point, they're on a plane, and the agent makes a mistake in his story, and the Doctor catches it. And the agent reveals himself to be the Master.
And everyone is shocked.
Um, it's New Year's Day. Everyone is so hungover watching this.
Anyone who is actually watching this because they're not at work got so drunk last night that they are not sure which of these characters is new.
Now, I will say, uh, the guy playing the Master in this is fantastic, but I was one of those people who was watching this hungover to shit.
Be like, do I know these guys?
The nuances of his performance were not getting through to me. But yeah, so in part one, and it ends on a cliffhanger on New
And it
Year's Day.
New Year's Day, here you tune in for the family-friendly Doctor Who Christmas special, and you get here's the Master. It's a cliffhanger. Come back
It's
in
also
March when we start releasing actual episodes.
it's interesting because as well, obviously the Doctor is now a woman, the Master is now brown. She at one point, like, he's in Nazi occupied France even, and
Uh-huh.
he's using a filter to pass as white, and the way she escapes him is by removing the filter, and
Ooh,
we all just move on past that.
there's a we could do an entire episode on just that choice.
And now, earlier in the episode, did make her kneel before him in, like, want to say Victorian times. I can't remember offhand.
That is
So, like,
classic master shit.
it is classic mastership. You notice they're noticing that there's a different power relationship when they are no
Yeah,
longer same
they're sort of
gender and
doing this
ethnic.
with awareness of how time and place is affecting their relative capacities.
Yeah, because they're now a brown dude and a white lady.
Yeah, and she
Um,
now has
Now,
the power of screaming that she didn't previously.
this is all very cool and interesting, but it is a lot to pile on people on Christmas fucking, not even Christmas, on New Year's
On New
fucking
Year's
day.
Day, this the topic of racial power dynamics and microaggressions and how they affect your interpersonal relationships is an important and interesting and deep one, but is it one for when you are hungover and don't know who anyone is?
Now, to be fair, a lot of that stuff happens in the second half of the two-parter, which happens a week after New Year's Day, but it's set up on the New
It is
Year's Day
set up
one.
on New Year's Day.
So
But
it's like,
just doing it
are
as
you
a part
paying
one is the
attention?
wild thing. Because what if you were working on New Year's Day? Because also, these don't always go out in their normal time slot when they're specials. They can sometimes go out like in the afternoon.
Better get BBC iPlayer up and running if you want to have a clue what's going on the 7th
Right,
of January,
right. Tuning
because
into the
we
first
set all of
episode of
this up
Doctor
on.
Who, you better go and do catch up before we take it down.
You've got Doctor Who homework to do because we established all of this shit while you were sleeping off your hangover.
On New Year's special.
On New Year's Day, we did part one. We brought back the Master.
In part one on New Year's Day.
So if you watch part two, having not watched part one because you slept through you like
What
was
what do
sleeping
you
off your
know?
hangover. This is just some random dude who makes the Doctor kneel before him and call him Master.
Right, you don't know that it's because he is the master. You're just like, well, this seems a bit creepy.
Kind of horny for 10 minutes into the episode, and then you're like, oh, it's the homoerotic dude. I understand now.
Right. Good on you
And
for
then
continuing
suddenly
the
we're doing
homoerotic themes in the superficially heterosexual context. I appreciate it.
And then we're doing the ethics of exposing somebody as brown in Nazi occupied France.
How did we get from there to here? Yeah.
Right? I was asleep on New Year's Day.
I didn't see any of the setup for this. I don't understand why we're doing this.
So yeah, that was part one on New Year's Day. A year later,
Hmm.
we're back on New Year's Day, and would you believe me if I told you that this is a plot crucial episode that brings back a classic Who enemy?
You know what? I would. I really would. I'm starting to think that the Daleks may have more Christmas episodes than mainline.
This is indeed more Daleks. It's also more Jack Harkness, a character who we haven't seen for like a decade.
Right, and I enjoy Jack, but Jack has not been important on Doctor Who for like a decade. And even that, like a decade ago, he was brought back as a cameo of, remember this old guy who you loved? We've brought him back for an
He was
episode.
a
He was
regular
from season
character.
one. He was from season one.
He was a regular character for the less than half of season one in 2005.
Right. And they brought him back a couple of times over the next 10 years as a cameo. Remember
And
Jack?
even the
Remember
last time
Jack?
he had
Everyone
a
loves Jack.
cameo appearance, his last cameo appearance was the Christmas special where we lost David Tennant.
Right, which was literally, I don't think he even has a line. Like
That was
like
in
we see him,
2010.
and but also the scene that he gets in the like actual Tenant regeneration episode is he is seen. The Doctor
It's a,
watches him from across a crowded bar. He gets no lines.
the Doctor plays wingman for him with no lines in 2010, and then he comes back on the 1st of January 2021.
At which point, you are well within your rights to literally not have been born last time this guy was on screen and be old enough to enjoy Doctor Who.
It has been 11 years.
11-year-olds are a perfect age to be watching New Year's specials of Doctor Who. They did not see Captain Jack's cameo.
Like, this character was last a regular character on Doctor Who 16 years prior to this episode's release.
Well, it's still more recently than the Brigadier.
And I want to be clear here, they do not explain who he is.
He just show up being like, pass me
It's
the sonic
me!
screwdriver.
They do show his whole, like, coming back from the dead deal, like, the plot relevant who he is, they show. But
Yeah.
who this guy is and how he's related to the Doctor? Not acknowledged. The Doctor's just like, "Oh yeah, this is Jack, I know him." And we have to just roll with that, I guess.
Yeah, I had this whole thing with him last time the Master was around. You might have met him last year. We didn't really explain that. Never
It
mind.
also
Moving on.
it's kind of weird to me that he's not more phased by Daleks, given that he was literally killed by them, but fine.
His
He's been
his
through a
first
lot
ever
of
being
things.
killed was by Daleks, yeah.
Because, like, in the previous time he came back and actually had a proper role, he was,
Right, which
like,
was the
terrified
Jacoby
by the
Master
Daleks.
episode, wasn't it?
No, he came back after that as well, didn't he?
Did he? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
for where they moved all the planets.
Oh yeah, no, they did that whole big double regeneration thing and they got all the old companions back and
Yeah, where everybody piloted the TARDIS together.
yeah, and I think they put him through a garbage disposal at one point.
Yeah, they, like, incinerated him because they didn't know he comes back from the dead. But, like, you saw him react with, like, visceral horror and hold his loved ones close when he
He was
heard Dalek voices.
really upset about the Daleks, but this time he's chill.
He's just sort of like, "Oh shit, Daleks again." Like, he
I guess
reacts
he's
to
moved on.
Daleks the way I react to finding another giant house spider in my bathroom,
Right, you're not enjoying the situation, but it's fine.
which is like, "Oh fuck, okay, I don't have a cup big enough, I'll get the bowl."
Yeah. I usually give
Which
him a
is
little
like a
ride
weird way
in
to
the toilet
react
roll
to
tube.
something that has horribly murdered you twice.
Yeah, no, like house spiders in the bath, I give them a little ride with the toilet roll tube, which is not what I would do with a Dalek.
No, but yeah, he reacts very nonchalantly to there being Daleks, and I think Daleks killing him again, he's just like, "Yeah, this might as well happen."
Again.
Which makes sense if you've been watching Torchwood, because in Torchwood he has been through unimaginable horrors that have traumatized him.
They really, really beat him up a lot in Torchwood.
He's been through the wars in Torchwood, both literally and metaphorically, so I understand why he's not more, like, bummed about the Daleks.
He's gotten
But
too traumatized for the Daleks to really make an impact.
if you have not seen the spin
If
off
you
show
didn't watch
Torchwood,
that, if you didn't watch
and,
any of that, then there's no
it's
reason you
been
have to.
11 years since this guy
Right,
was on your TV.
right, and crucially, Torchwood also has not been on TV at this point for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's been, like, less. It's been, like, what, 6 to 8 years? I can't remember when the Torchwood specials were, but about that.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah, but it's been a good chunk of time. It's not
Like,
like
John
callback
Barrowman
to
has been
October
off
when you
doing
met this guy.
Broadway stuff or whatever. He's not been on Doctor Who.
Yeah, this is not like callback to something that happened in October on your television. This is callback to something that happened 7 or 8 or 10 or 16 years ago.
Also, this is also plot crucial in addition to being flashback heavy because two of the Doctor's three companions decide to leave in this episode.
Right, so if you tune in at the first episode of next season, people have left and you don't know why.
Yeah. This also serves as Jack's reintroduction, by the way, because he does come back in the main series and is very plot relevant.
Hmm.
So, again, I hope you were paying attention on New Year's Day and you weren't too hungover.
Right, New Year's Day is when we release the Doctor Who revision notes that you will need for your exams in the spring.
Yeah. After all of that, it's almost a relief that the next episode is just the Doctor and the Daleks and a romp.
And there are many, many reasons why we keep bringing the Daleks back. But one of them is it is just very fun to have a run around shooty fight with giant, like, wheelie bin robots that shout "exterminate" and have laser guns.
It's a fun romp, which is why it
It's
almost
fun.
comes out of nowhere when you discover that this is actually, like, probably one of the most load-bearing episodes of 13's entire arc as a character.
Is it regeneration episode?
No, it's a secret gay feelings episode. So,
Somehow, doing a
between
big gay reveal at Christmas special is worse than doing plot. Like doing feelings plots somehow is more of a betrayal, and I don't know why that is.
So between the previous Dalek episode with John Barrowman and the current one, the Doctor has picked up a new companion, a Scouser played by stand-up comedian John Bishop. Sure. And
Continue.
Guy has impeccable gaydar because over the course of the episode, he realizes that the Doctor and her companion Yaz are in fact in love with each other.
Does he then explain this to them?
Sort of, not successfully. Um, and they sort of defeat the Daleks, and it just cuts off there with, and the lesbian feelings will be explored in future episodes of Doctor Who, which, by the way, they really aren't. Not in
So
like
yeah,
a
no, I think why this offends me more is that like you put a bunch of plot in the Christmas special that is like silly and inconvenient, um, because it's the episode that maybe you didn't watch. If you put the gay feelings in the Christmas episode that is the episode you maybe didn't watch, at that point we're like quarantining the gay.
Now, to be fair, it is not that the gay doesn't come back. The gay is extremely important to the subsequent season. It's just that the plot is the Doctor wrestling with the fact that she has romantic feelings for a human again and not being able to say them aloud, etc.
Uh-huh.
Which it is unhelpful that explaining all of that was in a New Year's Day special.
Right, giving you the context for the awkward looks.
Because what you then get is an entire series of awkward looks with very little in between.
Yeah,
Because there's
which is not
then
ideal.
like two specials, one of which has to do all the regeneration stuff. Because it's not a regular series. The Doctor Who occasionally does this, where they'll do like a series of interconnected specials over a year instead of a
Yeah.
series. They tend to be higher budget. They're quite often very good, but it does mean less screen time. So in
Yes.
the first special, which is the New Year's Eve special, they introduce the lesbian feelings. The second one, they sort of hang over them like the sword of Damocles, and in the third one, they have to resolve all of that and also kill the main character.
Right, that's not really ideal.
It's just a lot to be getting on with.
It's a lot of content.
Which makes it, again, insane to introduce all of this on New Year's Day.
But that's what we're doing with Christmas specials, is that we've introduced the concept of the Christmas special, and we experimented briefly with having it being like a light-hearted runaround thing before we get back to the show, and then we decided that was for chumps, and actually it's the most important episode of the year.
Yeah, so we're now back on the ones I've watched in line with the series, and we're straight on to. We skip over the return of David Tennant for several specials, onto the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, and his first episode is a Christmas special. It's also the introduction of a new companion, so we've got a new Doctor, a new companion, and it's a Christmas special. What do you think they spend most of their time on in this episode?
Nostalgia.
No. There's no nostalgia at all, in fact. There are no callback characters. I don't think there's even any. I think it's 100% new characters if you count the Doctor as a new character.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. It's got the standard celebrity cameo, which is Davina McCall as herself.
Can you really do a cameo with Davina McCall as anyone else?
Exactly. She's just Davina McCall as Davina McCall.
Yep.
It is about time traveling musical theatre goblins stealing babies.
Of course it is. The most Christmassy thing imaginable.
Christmas,
Welcome to Christmas. We're
Christmas
doing baby
time.
stealing goblins. Don't look at the anti-Semitism behind the curtain.
Don't look. Don't think about it. The musical number is a banger. To be fair.
I mean, to be fair, Doctor Who has not done any significant amount of musicals, and that may be a loss.
Yeah, I think honestly, like Doctor Who is a big fan, especially under RTD, who was the original showrunner of the relaunch of Doctor Who and had come back from this episode onwards, and for a
Hmm.
few specials, but for our analysis from this episode
Hmm.
onwards, loves like you know very naughty's pop banger.
Yep, yep.
Um, this episode has basically the Doctor Who is tracking these time traveling baby eating goblins who have stolen Ruby, the new companion's young foster sibling.
Hmm.
And so they rescue the baby together, but then the goblins go back in time and eat baby Ruby, so she never got fostered
A
ever again.
paradox.
and the Doctor goes back in time to save her, but discovers that there's a whole like wacky paradox going on with her, which is going to be the series mystery for the upcoming series.
Sure.
So I hope you were paying attention on Christmas Day.
Again, we are introducing the whole series content on Christmas Day.
New main character, new companion, all new characters. The main plot for this series and the recurring plot thread for multiple series, Mrs. Flood, the spooky lady who lives next door to Ruby and knows about the Doctor somehow.
All of these,
That's
I mean,
all
that's a lot of
introduced.
work for one episode of anything to do, and also we're doing it on the Christmas special, so I hope you hadn't started drinking yet.
And also, you have to follow the whole plot about the time traveling
Right.
paradox, child eating goblin people,
Everyone finished eating an amount of turkey dinner the size of your head? Now it's time for
including
homework.
including a musical number, which
A
take
musical
time.
number, which will cause many dads to simply turn the TV off.
And that brings us to last year, 2024.
2024, a banner year, I'm sure, for Doctor Who Christmas specials.
So, Joy to the World takes place after Ruby has amicably left the Doctor to reunite with her birth mother,
Uh-huh.
and before he meets his next companion. So, the Doctor is staying in a place called the Time Hotel, which is a hotel that lets you like, stay in hotel rooms at different points in history.
A themed hotel. We love a themed hotel.
Yeah, sure. This feels a little bit game breaking, but that's a normal thing for Doctor Who to do. Suddenly introduce something completely
Doctor Who
bananas into a
routinely saying,
romantic
oh,
setting.
by the way, there's also a time traveling hotel and it's always existed. Normal Doctor Who stuff.
Sure, yeah. Um, where the Doctor is investigating a mysterious briefcase along with some of the hotel staff.
Ooh, that's a cheap mystery.
Nice cheap mystery. Well, they spent all of their money on getting Nicola Coughlan.
There, there.
And Stephen Moffat is back, by the way. He wrote this one.
He comes back a lot.
He does. He likes to come back. He's a fan. I don't have issue with that. Honestly, I love his writing. I don't love his show running, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
some of the best episodes of Doctor Who are Stephen Moffat. Unfortunately, some of the other episodes of Doctor Who are also Stephen Moffat.
yeah. But he's good for the one shots. And this isn't a bad episode. It's weird. It's not necessarily bad. Um, it has Nicola Coughlan as someone staying in a hotel room in 2024-ish, who gets sort of attached to the briefcase in a weird way, and the Doctor has to do timey-wimey shenanigans to like
Hmm.
the code to open it to get her off it, and they realise that the briefcase is like a giant energy source. And Joy gets a rant about how awful COVID was, which is like a very good rant, but feels kind of out of place.
Yeah.
Specifically about like Boris Johnson's government sucking. So like again, it's very good.
Okay,
It
right.
feels
I am sympathetic with the theme of this rant, but
like the
a
premise
Christmas
is
special
the
in
reason
2024 is an interesting time to do it.
the reason that she's alone in a hotel on Christmas Day is that her mum died alone in hospital during lockdown while the government was having free for all wine parties. And I'm like, hell yeah, stick it to them. But why is this happening now?
Here and now is a interesting time to do this.
But sure. And so Joy saves the day by absorbing the energy source from the briefcase and becoming the Star of Bethlehem.
Huh. So
Yeah,
Christianity's canon?
yeah. Also, just in case that wasn't like a bit too much to take on all in one go, the Doctor has a sort of quasi-romantic relationship with a member of the hotel staff, and at the end of the next episode, next season, at the very climax, that member of hotel staff shows up and saves the day by opening a door through time that stabilizes the breaking down dimension that the Doctor is trapped in by his enemies.
Oh well, good for them.
So I hope
We
you were
we
paying
we
attention on
we love a
Christmas
recurring
Day.
character who is not explained at all at the climax of the season,
Not
having not
explained
seen him since the
remotely.
Christmas special.
I
That's the
hope you were
best way
paying
to have a
attention
returning character, actually.
to this minor character who got like maybe 10 minutes of screen time in the Christmas special.
Right. Obviously, they were going to come back and save the entire series and the universe and the Doctor, and we
Swear to
wouldn't need to
Christ.
explain that. Why would we need to explain that? You were paying attention to your Doctor Who Christmas homework.
I swear to Christ.
So foolish of me not to
Who is
remember the
real,
sonic
apparently.
screwdriver from 10 years previous.
I swear to Christ. Who is real, apparently.
Apparently, at least, if the Star of Bethlehem is real, I suppose that doesn't mean
The
Like,
Star of
theologically,
Bethlehem is
anything, it
real.
just means that the star happened, but, like, it does imply that, like, at least the basic facts of the Christmas story happened, even if we can be on the fence about the divinity involved. Like,
I mean,
someone's
if
getting
the
put in a
Star of
manger at that point. Like, what's
if the
happening here?
Star of Bethlehem is a hot chick, I don't know what that means biblically.
I don't know what that means biblically, but I think in terms of Doctor Who canonicity, it means that somebody got put in a manger. I mean, you know,
Um,
there is something very interesting to say about that, which is that society is actually secular enough about Christmas specifically that doing a Star of Bethlehem thing is kind of equivalent to doing the Christmas Carol or a Narnia reference, where it's just it's just another Christmas motif. Doesn't imply anything about anything, um, but actually, that only really works if nobody thinks it implies anything about anything, and if you think for 2 minutes about the difference between the Star of Bethlehem and Santa, um,
yeah.
making that bit real in your fiction is a choice.
I mean, the thing is, Doctor Who has also done Easter specials and Halloween specials, and like while they've sometimes had thematic elements in common, they've never gone like this Easter we're going to witness the birth of Christ. Well, the
Right,
death of
exactly.
Christ.
There's a
Either, you know what
big
I
big
mean?
difference between we're going to do a Christmas special, and fundamentally we're going to acknowledge that Christmas was a big festival that the people of Earth in this time period celebrated, and it had certain motifs. Versus the Star of Bethlehem was caused by a Doctor Who adventure.
Like Doctor Who Easter specials tend to be along the lines of like, oh look, we've brought back like a fan favorite like scary like monster, or we've like, you know, we're doing a silly like shenanigans where we go to a desert. It tends to be just like we're doing a big budget fun episode because it's Easter and you've probably got the weekend off.
Right, it's
They
more of
don't
it's a
tend to
holiday
be
special just in the sense of this is a good chance to do a big one.
Yeah, they don't tend to be like we've gone to the planet of the anthropomorphic rabbits and we have to save them from the evil egg robots.
Right, which would be very normal for a Christmas episode to be like, we have gone to the land of robot reindeer. There's going to be a sleigh. And we'd be like, okay. And also, someone's going to regenerate because this is a Doctor Who Christmas special and it's going to be plot relevant. But, Doctor Who's taking a religious position now. What? Why
I'm
do this? Why just not do this?
Now, I will say
You
it
could have
clearly
not done this
works
so easily.
because the Doctor Who Christmas specials do tend to get better ratings than regular Doctor Who.
Right, because more people are doing nothing and would like to watch some good TV.
Yeah, so like, can I blame them for continuing to do this? No. Do I understand it? Also, no.
I just think, I just think you could have someone explode into a star without making that star be the Star of Bethlehem.
It could just be a star because stars are Christmassy.
You could just have an alien constellation that looks like a reindeer and now it's got a new eye. You could have done things. You could have made choices. You could have. I would be literally less confused if you just made it the sun. Like if you got, oh, you're going to send her back in time and she's going to turn to a star and that star is going to be Earth's sun would be more sensible to me. But it's
You will
the
not know
star.
this because I just turned off my microphone for a second before it was audible to the listener, but I very nearly dropped a full glass bottle of my drink on my laptop.
It would not have enjoyed that.
It would, I mean, the laptop's on its last legs, but I try to avoid brutalizing it.
I think it probably would have cut the episode short on me ranting about the Star of Bethlehem, which would have been an interesting statement.
I really question if I want to say how did we end up here, but when I look at the 2005 Christmas special, this seems like where we were always going.
Yeah, no, it does. It does seem like our belief that a Christmas special should not be the most important episode of the year is not shared by the showrunners.
We do just need to accept a little bit that this is what Doctor Who Christmas specials are and do, is they are plot crucial, they are unskippable, and they are cringy as fuck.
Yep, we are gonna have Mark Gatiss playing the Brigadier's dad, and you're not allowed to not watch it because we're also gonna kill the Doctor.
And like, I don't think we actually looped back to why the hand thing was plot relevant, but I cannot express how plot relevant the hand thing was
The
from the
hand thing is
first
plot
ever
relevant
one of
more
these.
than once.
multiple times in more than one show. It was plot relevant in Torchwood as well.
Right, there's just for like about 10 years worth of between these two shows, there's the Doctor's severed hand in a jar, and they use it for navigation. They use it to make an extra regeneration of David Tennant. They use it, I think, again to regenerate Donna.
It's so much.
This hand keeps coming back, and it just gets cut off as like a throwaway joke in the
They
Christmas special because it
introduce
gets cut
the
off, and
Doctor's.
it gets cut off, and the Doctor's like, "Ah, don't worry, I've got regeneration." As you just like wiggles, and his hand grows back.
And like that would sort of be cute if it was just like, oh, it's a Christmas episode. We're not going to have any real
Right, but
consequences. It's
instead,
Christmas.
a severed hand turns up a
It's
couple of years later, and
important.
we're supposed to know. Oh, I know where that hand came from.
Quite aside from anything else, I'm always mildly surprised when Doctor Who does, because Doctor Who has like its own brand of continuity where it decides episode to episode how important continuity is.
Yes, 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 yes.
Because you can never assume that anyone watching Doctor Who you can never assume anyone watching Doctor Who wasn't 3 when that thing happened, but you also can't assume that they don't have like a dedicated wall chart to the exact number of appearances that left-handers had.
Yeah, and I think Doctor Who is made by the kind of people who have the wall chart.
And you have to account for both of those viewers when you're making it.
Yeah, because the thing is that the people who were not born when the hand thing happened, um, are your target audience because they're the 11-year-olds. But the people with the wall chart will write you so many letters.
And also, some of those 11-year-olds are your future wall charters.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're gonna be so mad at you if it turns out that when they fell in love with Doctor Who aged 11, that was a continuity error.
Exactly. So you've got to keep that in mind. And also, it has to make sense to Nana, who doesn't give a shit.
Right, who is just like, oh, is that Mark Gatiss? I saw him in Sherlock.
You have to make it make sense to all of these people, all of whom are about to go into a coma from eating too much turkey.
I have a suggestion. Just don't do any of this. This just sounds like a really hard mode way to make television, and you could just not do it. I
Consider.
realise that that's bad for other reasons like ratings, but I do think it'd be easier to make Doctor Who if you didn't have to make Christmas specials.
The thing is, I'm so here for the Doctor Who Christmas specials because I loved those as a kid. I loved watching them with my like I said, I used to phone up my cousin every year and we would sit on the phone racking up the bill watching Doctor Who together. And I love that. That's a magical experience. I don't want to deprive kids of that. I just think that if I, as a grown adult, would like to watch Doctor Who and skip the episode where the fucking sketch comedian gets kidnapped by the Santa bots, I should be able to do that without missing out on crucial plot information about the lesbian situationship.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, this year there is no Doctor Who Christmas special, and instead you can just listen to us talking about what's wrong
You
with
don't
this.
need a Doctor Who Christmas special because you've got us. I
And
am at the very moment that this episode is released eating charcuterie.
I will probably be in being chased out of my mother's kitchen, and you know, that's what Christmas is for.
That's what Christmas is for. Um, I will be doing that on Saturday when there is a complex cue sheet for the cooking of the Christmas dinner in which I have two roles. One of them is make the stuffing balls, and the other is drink the cups of tea. I know my place, and it is out of the way.
I am in charge of dessert for Christmas Day, which means I do my part of the job on Christmas Eve and then leave.
Right. Also a great way of doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't want to be down on Doctor Who Christmas specials, but I do think they're fun to talk about because they're clearly insane.
They are clearly insane. That's the thing. And when I say it would be easier to make Doctor Who without doing this, I mean that from a craft perspective. From a social perspective, who would we even be without the Doctor Who Christmas special? What would life be? What would Britain be as a country if we could not look forward to beloved character actors wearing Santa hats and
And
traveling through time and space to fight Daleks?
the thing is, I've seen several people try to explain the Doctor Who Christmas special using Panto. I don't think
Oh no,
Panto explains
different
jack shit.
things. No.
Panto is its own, like, mummery of madness.
Right. We
But
also have an insane theatrical Christmas tradition, but that's not what Doctor Who is. Doctor Who is doing its
Ew.
own version of its own thing because Doctor Who is inherently quite strange, and then it's also doing the Christmas thing in a very odd way, where it's decided to make that the linchpin of its plots.
I d I
Actually,
can't
what
lie.
Doctor Who is a Christmas show with some like callback stuff through the year.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think it would make more sense if you only watched the Christmas specials than if you watched everything but the Christmas specials.
Which is really a service to all the people who only watch the Christmas specials.
Yeah, it's just like, keeping it consistent for all the nanas out there.
Right. In the rest of the time, we can get a bit strange with it. The hand comes back, but crucially, the hand doesn't come back in the Christmas specials.
Like, from our recap of all those Christmas specials, you can make sense of a through line. The same key people come back every so often, characters come and go.
You know what
Sometimes
a
the main
Dalek
guy
is,
dies and regenerates into someone new.
right? You've seen the same enemies so many times,
Times twice in a row.
right? Basically, if you watch the Christmas specials only, you will have the idea that Doctor Who is a show about repeatedly killing off the main character, fighting Daleks, and having like some time loop paradoxes that always get resolved by the end of the day. And you'll be right.
With occasional cameos from like made
Beloved
from
character
like,
actors.
beloved character actors and random pop stars.
Right, which again does happen. Mostly at the Christmas specials, but also Billy Piper was the companion for 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's
And
not just the specials.
and if you are trying to watch regular Doctor Who, you are actually forced to stay sober on Christmas Day until after Doctor Who, or
Because
you're
you
going to
need
have to
to
do some
remember all
serious
of this.
homework to understand what is happening in the
Right.
final episode when it
Because
all
what you
becomes
were a fan of is
plot
actually the
relevant.
spin off show to a Christmas series. This is now my grand unifying theory of Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a spin off show for a Christmas time travel show.
I think of all of it, the thing that angers me most
Hmm.
is bringing back Captain Jack with no preamble.
It's been so long. You need to explain this guy.
Like, look, I am a diehard. I am here for more Captain Jack. I love that guy. I honestly, my favorite TARDIS like crew of all of Doctor Who is Nine, Rose, and Jack. I love Jack.
I'm with you all the way. They were fantastic. But you
Nine
need to
is my
explain this
forever
guy.
Doctor. I love Rose and Jack. I'm happy to have this guy back, but it has been years since he was a regular character.
Right. The last time we saw him was already a callback cameo to a character who had not been a regular in some time.
People who were born when he was a regular character have already outgrown their Doctor Who phase.
You've got 10-year-olds watching this who physically could not have watched the last time this guy had a cameo. You need to explain him.
There were people conceived when this guy was last regularly playing this character who already think Doctor Who is for little kids.
Right. Please explain the time traveling immortal man.
You cannot have this guy just show up and be like, hey everybody, it's me, your favourite character. Just
Because
because
he's not
that's true
anymore.
of me
Right,
doesn't mean
but
you
you were
can't
there at the time. And
doesn't mean
neither
you
the
can't have
11-year-old nor
some
Nana
feelings.
necessarily remembers this guy.
No. Because some people who were watching this and who were super into 13 literally hadn't been born when you last saw this guy.
It's a poor
Oh my god.
choice, but also I need to remind you that they have made the Star of Bethlehem a canonical event in the Doctor Who universe, and I think that might be even worse.
Played by Penelope from Bridgerton.
The Star of Bethlehem is played by. Okay, sure, why not?
Yeah. You know, because that might as well happen. Also, her name is Joy, because it's Christmas.
Because it's Christmas.
The more I think about these, the more my brain hurts.
If we do not stop recording, I'm going to be physically unable to process this audio file.
Yeah, I'm so losing my voice. I have a meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'm
Right.
gonna
It is, listener, it is 11 p.m. on a work night. Appreciate the sacrifices we make for you. That's an order.
listen to the sound of my voice.
We're so tired.
I am dying here. But yeah, I think the thing that all of the Doctor Who specials have to me is a commitment to the bit,
Hmm. Yes, they're all very sincere about being a Christmas special.
a baffling series of decisions,
Hmm.
And a consistent slight tone of, well, that just happened, that you just have to accept.
They're quite arch.
Because
Yes.
crucially, the Doctor does not know that they're in Christmas specials.
No, the Doctor just knows that every so often, with a statistically improbable connection to them dying, th- th- Christmas happens to be happening while they are doing Doctor Who stuff.
It is a miracle that they are not terrified of all Christmassy things
They
now.
should have a trauma response to Santa Hat.
It's like the one with the Star of Bethlehem has a throwaway gag that the Doctor is scared of plungers because the Daleks have a little plunger-looking weapon.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think the Doctor should be scared of Christmas trees at this
I
stage.
think so. The Doctor has been attacked by Christmas-themed enemies too often.
There is
The
no
connection should
Christmas
have been made by now.
paraphernalia that has not tried to kill the Doctor, and in at least one case succeeded.
Right.
Because in the Turn Left episode with Donna, which isn't a Christmas special, they do in fact require you to have been paying attention on Christmas Day, because in that one she goes back in time and the Doctor dies by the Christmas Star spaceship.
Right, and then it gets fixed by other. It's what a silly show.
This is
I love it
baffling
for
enough
that.
out of universe. Imagine trying to get your head around this if you're just like the Doctor.
I would just be superstitious. I would just be like, "No, it's Christmas. I'm not going there.
I'd be like,
Things
okay,
keep
so
killing me."
Christmas is hell.
Because, like,
Stop
how
going
many
to
of
the
the recent
Victorian era. Actually, you're a time traveler. Just skip Christmas.
10 got killed at Christmas, 11 got killed at Christmas, 12 got killed at Christmas.
I'm just saying, you are a time traveler. Just get in that
Do not
box on
go
Christmas
to
Eve
Christmas.
and skip straight to the 5th of January.
Just boycott Christmas.
No Christmas for you. Just let it pass you by.
Always winter, never Christmas. That's our recommendation.
You'd think. You know, it's at least worth a go.
You have to try. I mean, when you've been killed 3 times in a row by Christmas-themed problems, you have to try not going to Christmas.
It's either the only possibilities are A, that, or B, the Master is behind all of this and the Master is really into Christmas.
The Master created Christmas as some kind of long-form con.
It just lures the Doctor in because the Doctor loves having family dinner with British people.
Right. We've
For some
cracked
reason.
it.
We've blown this shit wide open. Okay. I have to go and breathe in some steam. I feel like I'm gonna die.
You
Happy
have to do
holidays,
that.
everybody.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Go and watch Doctor Who.
Please don't get killed by a rotating Christmas tree.
Be safe around your deadly Christmas robots. And we'll see you in the new year.
Bye bye.
Bye. You've been listening to Analysis Roulette, a podcast applying a randomly selected mode of analysis to a randomly selected creative work, just to see what happens. Your hosts have been Dia and Duck. You can find us on Spotify or on YouTube, and if you'd like to get in touch, you can send us an email at analysisroulette@gmail.com. And remember, if you like our show, share it with your friends, and if you don't like our show, share it with your enemies. Thanks.